Hello, people. Welcome back to the OCM Botcast. I'm your host, Chad Marco, and I have returned to the scene. And as you can see, today's episode is called MIG TAO. All I did was change the way that it's spelled, but yeah, it's MIG TAO. So I think it's fair to say that I'm a MIG TAO type motherfucker, right? You all know I don't wave the MIG TAO flag, but I think it's fair to say that I'm pretty fucking MIG TAO as a 29-year-old single virgin man. So, and a lot of my point of view on modern women and dating and whatnot it's pretty similar to the MIG TAO ideology, of pretty much avoiding relationships and sex and women to whatever degree you think necessary. But the thing is, I've never really talked about MIG TAO specifically, right? Because again, I never felt the need to wave the flag, hey, I'm MIG TAO, because I always felt like I was that before it was even a thing, at least before I was aware that it was a thing. I always tell people, I always remember herbivore, the whole herbivore male thing was when I first learned about guys going their own way, so to speak. So today I wanted to really dive in and talk about MIG TAO specifically, but more so specific criticisms that MIG TAO receives, because obviously MIG TAO is a pretty unpopular group, at least when it comes to normal society, and especially women. And oftentimes when I see a MIG TAO thread on R9K or anywhere else, you'll see like the same criticisms that people will hold against it. And I just wanted to address some of those and just give my take on it, because I think some of the criticisms that MIG TAO receives is warranted, but some of it is also kind of silly, if you ask me. And so that's really what we're going to talk about as far as the main topic. But other than that, it's going to be a usual show. Got all the bells and whistles. We got the news, we got OC, we got the TOD, we got comments. We're gonna have a great time today, I guarantee it. So you guys, just strap in, get a snack, and we're gonna blast off into awesomeness. But before I get started, I told you guys last time that I will be giving you one quote from the Buddha at the beginning of every episode, just to start off with a bit of positivity. Hold up, let me just switch to the page here. Oh, okay. Okay, so today's quote from the Buddha, today's saying of the Buddha is, "So I went forth from home in the houseless state, a quester of what is good, seeking the incomparable path to peace." So I went forth from home in the houseless state, a quester of what is good, seeking the incomparable. I'm trying to understand what he's talking about. So as I read this, it seems like he's saying that he left the comfort of his home to seek what is good, to seek peace. So it seems like he was on a journey of sorts to come to some sort of realization or understanding of an ultimate good or a long-lasting inner peace. And that, if that is a accurate interpretation of what is said here, then that can that makes me think of my own personal journey. I can I say this to myself a lot, but I feel like I wasn't really awake until I was like 17 or 18. And I feel like ever since then, I've been on this journey, like a physical journey, a mental journey, as well as a spiritual journey, trying to better understand myself and, God damn it. My alarm. Oh, I better turn the whole thing off. Give me a second. I was about to get deep too. Leave me alone. That's my alarm. But yeah, I feel like or rather, I've been on this journey to better understand myself, to understand the world, to identify my weaknesses and try to fix them the best that I can, to identify my strengths and enhance them as much as I can. And I always feel like the age of 24 to around 26 was very important for me on that journey, because that's when I feel like I truly developed an appreciation for life, which I think is the most important. That had to be the most important point in my life up until now, because I've carried that feeling with me ever since. It was sort of an epiphany of sorts. You know, you're on this journey and you're reading these books and you're working out, you're eating differently, you're thinking differently, you're acting differently, and you're trying to find some sort of inner peace and understanding and just get rid of these negative feelings and thoughts. And that was my journey for so long. And I'm still on the journey. It's not over, but I do feel like I hit a point of significance around like 24 to 26 where I develop an appreciation for life. And so this quote just makes me just think of the journey that we all must go on to discover who we are and to figure out, you know, what type of lifestyle, what type of habits and thinking patterns do we need to develop in order to achieve peace of mind and to feel good about ourselves and our lives. So I'm not going to go too much further into that spiritual woo-woo. So before we get into the OC and the main topic and such, we are going to do the news. So I got one little tiny piece of news here. And it is the Travis Scott Astroworld tragedy. Yes. So if you did not know, Travis Scott, who is a rapper / producer, recording artist, I believe he has a child with Kylie Jenner, the youngest of the Kardashian bunch, at least as far as like the main sisters, right? I think she's his baby mother. I think they might even be married. But whatever, I digress. So, you know, Travis Scott, he's a recording artist. He's very popular. People love his music. But there was a tragedy recently at one of his concerts, one of his concerts called Astroworld, where 8 people died and there were lots of other injuries. And I'm hearing all kind of crazy stories about this. I'm seeing some YouTubers say that this was a satanic ritual and these people were sacrificed. I'm hearing some people say there was a guy with a needle in the crowd who poked a security guard with a needle and the security guard passed out. I mean, just all kind of crazy shit, right? But let's dive into it. So I'm going to go to a very trusted news source called Wikipedia to break this down for us. So let's start off here. Okay, so this is the article from Wikipedia. The Astroworld Festival crowd crush. Hold up, let me see. Oh, I might have to use my mouse too. Okay. Oh God, I hate doing that. I wish it was give me a second. Let me see if this works. No? Oh, I can? That's better. Okay, that's nice. All right, so let's get right into it. So on November 5th, 2021, a crowd crush occurred during the first night of the Astroworld Festival, a music event in Houston, Texas, United States, founded by American rapper Travis Scott. 8 people died the night of the concert in what Houston officials declared a mass casualty event, with the causes of death still under investigation. Of the 25 spectators hospitalized, 3 were in critical condition, including one subsequently declared brain dead, and more than 300 people were treated for injuries at the festival's field hospital. Multiple concert goers documented the incident, posting videos and recounting their experiences on social media. So as you can see, this was a terrible this was a very terrible event, in particular for the people who fucking died and the people who were injured. I mean, look at this. 3 were in critical condition, including 1 subsequently declared brain dead. You go to a rap concert and you leave brain dead. I mean, that's just talk about a bad day. And the thing about this whole event that I noticed is that immediately Travis Scott, he got a ton of backlash for this. And it kind of, I was like, why are people blaming him for what happened in the crowd? I could see if it was like, okay, these people fell off the balcony and the balcony wasn't, it wasn't properly inspected by a safety investigators or something like it. Like I can see if it was something like that. Like it was like cheap, like something fell on top of the people because of the concert organizers taking shortcuts as far as making sure that everything was safe and done by the numbers. But I couldn't understand like why everybody mad at the artists on stage when the chaos is in the crowd. But we're gonna get into that very soon. So right here we're gonna talk about the preparations for the concert, because I think this is an important part of the story. So the article says the 2021 festival was planned to take place over 2 consecutive nights and had approximately 50,000 attendees on the first night, though the venue could accommodate as many as 200,000 people. So that right there sounds pretty good. It's not like the venue was overcrowded. I think that by itself is a good mark on the side of the concert organizers, the promoters and whatnot. The city of Houston and Harris County organized security for the event, with Mayor Sylvester Turner saying that the city provided more security for the festival than it had for the 2021 World Series, which had ended in Houston 3 days earlier. That says a lot, but it is a rap concert. You know, rap, I hate to say it, but rap tends to attract a certain type of crowd demographic energy. So you got to keep that in mind. You know, a gathering of hip hop heads, it's going to be a bit different from like a gathering at like a gospel concert or something like that. You could probably have like 3 security guards out there. So the Houston Police Department had 528 officers at the festival, and event organizer Live Nation provided another 755 security officers. The Houston Fire Department stationed 20 ambulances outside the venue ahead of the concert. Paramedical needs were covered by Paradox Worldwide, a contractor from Brooklyn, which established a main medical tent and smaller tents around the venue, comprising 2 emergency room physicians, 6 registered nurses, 2 paramedics, and 9 emergency medical technicians, EMTs, among others. So it seems like they were pretty well prepared. You got what, between the police officers and security officers, that's well over 1,000 people providing security services. You got 20 ambulances, physicians, registered nurses, EMTs. Okay, so they already knew like shit was gonna go down. they knew shit was gonna go down. I don't think they were aware that it was gonna get as crazy as it did, but they knew shit was gonna go down. Okay. So it also says, among the scenarios addressed in an event operations plan written by organizers in consultation with the Houston Police and Fire Department and the venue staff at NRG Park obtained by press outlets, involved an active shooter, deaths, traumatic injuries, severe weather, a possible riot or civil unrest, lost persons, missing children, and unruly fans, but not contingencies for a surging crowd or mosh pit safety. Okay, so they addressed they address concerns for certain possible events, active shooter, deaths, traumatic events, riot, but not the one thing that actually happened, the surging crowd and mosh pit safety. Okay. Based on the site's layout and numerous past experiences, key concerns listed included the potential for multiple alcohol drug-related incidents, possible evacuation needs, and the threat of a mass casualty situation. A list given to security guards on visible signs of patrons needing medical care, including unsteady gait, confusion, vomiting, and loss of consciousness, advised that many incidents would be minor and a few would be complex. The document's chain of command indicated the concert's executive producer and its festival director were the only individuals with the authority to stop the concert, but the report didn't specify who held those roles. And a segment that was supposed to specify individuals who could shut down the power and end the show to allow for evacuation was left blank. All right, that don't look good. Crowd management techniques to identify potentially dangerous crowd behavior in its early stages were also never specified further in the guidelines. As of November 7th, it wasn't clear if those documents were the final version of the event operation plan. Fire marshals forced an adjustment of the pyrotechnics as they did not match the organizers' original submission. So, look, I've never had to promote a concert or anything like that, but when I look at the first half of this piece of the article here, it looks like they did a pretty bang up job in preparation. They got a lot of security officers and they got ambulances and registered nurses. So it seemed like, EMTs. So it seemed like they were at least somewhat prepared. It wasn't like they said, okay, just fuck it. We're going to get 50,000 people out here. We're going to turn up. Right. But then towards the bottom here, they got these little things. Like, they didn't specify which individual would have the authority to shut down power and end the show to allow for an evacuation. Like little stuff like that is going to come back to haunt them in a legal trial. Now, this is very important. This part is very important. Previous incidents pertaining to Travis Scott concerts. So Scott's previous performances had experienced a number of issues with legal fallout, and his past incitement, then praise subsequent to the incidents he instigated or his fans experienced, have been heavily criticized. Dubbed hip hop's king of rage in 2018, Scott was quoted in a 2015 GQ interview stating he wanted his concerts to feel like high energy wrestling matches. Oh, Travis, come on. At Lollapalooza in 2015, Scott was arrested for and charged with disorderly conduct after inciting concert goers to ignore security and rush the stage. That is not good. That's not good. That's very bad. That's a very dangerous thing to do because now you're putting them in the mindset of okay, fuck security. Even if I gotta punch this motherfucker in the mouth and push and shove, I'm gonna rush the stage. Like, that's very bad. That is hard. It's a horrible thing to do, Travis. When you do stuff like that, you're not only putting the fans in danger, you're putting security. Like, you pay these guys to do a job, and then you play a role in making it harder for them to do their job by telling the concert goers to ignore them. I mean, that's so dangerous. That's very reckless and inconsiderate. In 2017, he was arrested for similar conduct after a performance in Northwest Arkansas and charged with inciting a riot, disorderly conduct, and endangering the welfare of a minor, although all but disorderly conduct were later dismissed. That same year, a fan sued Scott and the organizers of a 2017 concert at Terminal 5 in Manhattan after falling from the third-level balcony and being dragged on stage, leaving the fan paralyzed from injuries sustained by the fall, with the lawsuit blaming the fall on a crowd surge. At the same concert, Scott was recorded encouraging other fans to jump off balconies, claiming that the crowd beneath them would catch them. In 2019, 3 people were trampled and injured as a crowd rushed to enter the car. Oh my God, this is horrible. This is horrible. I was on Twitter and I posted something when I saw this. I was like, people are acting like Travis Scott was in the crowd, like killing people with his bare hands. But now I kind of see why people were upset with him about this, because he has this is not good. This is horrible. This is bad. Like, this is because you gotta understand when you're an artist, especially in a lane like hip hop or even like heavy metal or something where the energy is like rah, 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 you know, you're like a conductor of the energy in that place, right? You can get them to calm down, right? You can put on like a different, slower type of song and say, "Everybody, put your lighters up, one love," and get everybody to calm down and put their lighters up, and you know, yeah, man. Or you can say, "Turn up in this bitch. We don't give a fuck, man. We about to get it in. Punch the nigga right next to you in the mouth." Like you can you can do shit like that because you're the conductor of the energy in that place, and especially looking at this situation of the guy falling off the balcony. Because, I mean, like, from when I read this, the way it looks to me is like, okay, you got the people on the balcony. Travis is encouraging people to jump off the balcony. That could create a crowd surge on the balcony, which leads to someone being pushed off the balcony, falling, hurting themselves, paralyzed. Boom. That's crazy. That's crazy. I was surprised, like, he ain't got in more trouble before. Like, whoa. All right. Damn. As of November 8th, internet tabloid TMZ reported a promotional video for Astroworld playing up the apparent inherent danger that lies with attending the festival, with spliced news clips hyping the prior year's chaos had been scrubbed from all their social media accounts except for Instagram. As of November 10th, still photos on Scott's personal Instagram with his comments glorifying and glamorizing fans that had broken their hand or passed out had still not been taken down. The outlet editorialized in both cases that both Scott's Rager persona and the Astroworld brand that supported it had caught up with them. And I think that last sentence is absolutely true. That is spot on. It's like he kept pushing and pushing and encouraging and accepting that kind of behavior. And up until now, nothing has happened bad enough to where he received a significant enough amount of backlash to the point where he was feeling the pressure. You know he's feeling the pressure now because I know that he released a public apology. I believe he's agreed to pay for the funerals of the deceased and amongst other expenses. So, you know, he's obviously feeling the pressure of all this. But, you know, this is what happens when you push and you push and you push something until it finally goes overboard. And that's what happened here is that he, you know, like they say, he's the hip hop's king of rage. And, you know, I want my concerts to be high energy wrestling matches. Like when you push that kind of energy at some point, that energy could reach a tipping point into true chaos and violence and death, and pretty much exactly what happened at Astroworld 2021. Event EMT Sammy Anjum said that after dealing with the expected influx of people seeking medical help for overdoses that started as early as 3:15, oh my God, medical staff progressively became overwhelmed by 8:15 p.m. with other traumatic injuries to the point they had to stop documenting patients and start triage. After running out of medical equipment amid a struggle to administer enough naloxone, a drug used to treat opioid overdoses, many patients were last seen conscious more than 20 minutes prior to receiving any medical attention. Another EMT, Remington Richardson, recalled the event similarly in a video posted to TikTok describing an impossible situation amid a symphony of chaos that went into a downward spiral very, very quickly, where attendees were calling for help one after the other, clarifying to have been properly staffed for the tragedy that occurred. Organizers would have needed an army. I got confused there, but I see what he means. Scott was set to perform on the first night of the Astroworld Festival with the countdown timer appearing 30 minutes before his set. Attendees cited by CNN said that as the countdown descended, concert goers continued to compress together and breathing became difficult. Signs of overcrowding were present by 8:39 when an attendee shot a video of concert goers hopping barricades because of overcrowding. I know I saw the videos of the people just kind of people forcing themselves through, I think it was the ticket gate or something like that. Like it was just people just bum rushed that shit when it was running through. It was crazy. I mean, that right there should tell you everything. Scott began performing at 9:06 p.m. His appearance on the stage resulted in people pushing toward it, leading to a crush. A concert goer later told reporters that the crush was so strong, the situation on the ground became so the crowd moved the individual and individuals had little control over their own body. According to Houston Fire Chief Sam Pena, at approximately 9 o'clock, 9:15, the crowd began to compress toward the front of the stage. Pena said that the crowd surged from the sides and not from front to back. He added that the crush was not caused by obstructed exits, but by issues close to the stage. As people began to fall and some were injured, additional panic ensued. One eyewitness told ABC 11 that she witnessed security guards reinforce crowd control barricades by tying the supporting bars together as they began to buckle under the weight of the crowd. Another concert goer who was reportedly 40 feet from the stage told WFAA-TV a staff member told him upon raising concerns, "It's a mosh pit. What do you expect?" An attendee recounting to Rolling Stone that he witnessed unconscious concert goers just be carried by the crowd due to his strength and had to get help to crowd surf the unconscious individuals out to security. Damn. At 9:11 p.m., symbolism? I don't know. Videos indicated fans attempting to escape the section closest to the stage were not succeeding. At 9:12, a tightly packed group of fans began screaming for medical help, and at 9:23 p.m., some fans began climbing speaker riggings to escape the crush. Fans continued screaming and waving their hands to attract Scott's attention at 9:24 p.m., but the rapper began his next song. At 9:27 p.m., Scott hunched over after a song in his set list was finished and paused. While the crowd chanted Travis, Scott straightened up and walked to the right side of the arena and pointed off stage asking for the lights, then telling the crowd to make some noise for my boy right there hanging in the tree. For a better view while closest to the stage, on the other side, people waved at the stage shouting, "Medic!" Scott then told everyone to put their middle fingers up in the sky because they are ready to rage, and began his next song, "No Bystanders." Wow. That does not make him look good. It makes him look like he was completely disconnected from what was going on. Like people are passing out and being crowd surfed to medical attention, and he's looking at a guy in a tree like, "Look at this guy right here. Put your middle fingers up, people." Put your middle fingers. I don't even know how he sound. I think I heard like one song from this guy. Oh man, put your middle fingers up because they are ready to rage. But this is goes back to what I said earlier though, right? Like he's probably witnessed that same kind of energy in the crowd time and time before. So he probably thought nothing of it because it happened before and people didn't die and nobody got paralyzed. So I can't say seriously injured, but nothing happened so bad to where he felt like he should have, paused and stopped the concert. At 9:30 p.m., Scott noticed an ambulance in the crowd asking the audience to raise their middle fingers if they were okay. Then two hands in the sky, and upon approval from much of the ground said, "You all know what you came to do. Chase B, let's go." Continuing the concert with his song Upper Echelon, telling the crowd that he wanted to hear the ground shake. A woman was filmed at 9:34 p.m. as Scott was starting to perform Lost Forever, climbing up a ladder to inform camera operators that she needed help. Then a man joined her on the raised platform voicing the same concerns, but another audience member told him that the crowd would take care of it, to which he responded screaming, "People are fucking dying. I want to save somebody's life. That's somebody's kid," agitating the crowd. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Reading this shit, I gotta spark up real quick. Damn, Travis. He got me in the mood. I can't lie. That bruh. I gotta look up some more footage of this shit. I mean, I know it's bad, but talk about the hypest concert in the fucking world. God damn. At roughly 9:42 p.m., Scott stopped performing Skeletons mid-song after noticing someone in the crowd passed out, saying, "We need somebody to help him. Somebody passed out right here." And don't touch him. Everybody just back up. And upon security members in bright green arriving to the area, Scott pointed out he started to perform again. While a video showed a man being carried limp from the same area Scott pointed to, it wasn't clear, according to reports, if it was the same guy Travis was referring to. So this kind of makes him look better because it shows that he wasn't just completely disconnected from what was going on. When he saw that someone was in serious trouble, he did hit the pause button and made sure that he calmed the energy down just enough so that this guy could get help. So this does make him seem a little bit more sympathetic. So it's kind of half and half now you look at it, because it's like, obviously he has these concerts where he encourages the kind of chaos that led to these deaths, but in the moment where he saw that someone needed help, he did the right thing and calmed things down so that the ambulance and the medical professionals could do their job. At around 9:43 p.m., a group of concert goers chanted in unison, "Stop the show," several times, waving their arms and pointing to the festival's personnel to end the show early. Though their requests were ignored just prior to 10 p.m., eyewitnesses noted the crowd's initial push toward the stage had eased, but things got chaotic again with the arrival of Drake. Oh no, Drake hit the shit. Oh no, it's over with. It's over with. I guarantee you, bro. Like 2 or 3 more people died, right? Like, because of Drake coming out. I'm not blaming Drake, but you know the energy. Travis Scott is a superstar, but Drake is a superstar. Like, he is a superstar J3. Like, I mean, he's on a whole nother level, and you know how people feel. Like, see, he walked out. He walked out with that fresh edge up, tall, man. It's Drake. Oh, the energy had to just explode, man. Let me put this out. Oh man, not Drake. It's over with. Your ass you better get to safety immediately. So Drake joined Travis Scott on the song Knife Talk, and as it continued, other audience members were filmed dancing on the roof of an ambulatory retrofitted golf cart with medical staff inside in the crowd. Scott and Drake started the song Sicko Mode. Oh no, Sicko Mode. Oh, it's over with. Sicko Mode. Oh man. At approximately 10:08 p.m. before the show closed with the final song Goosebumps. It's kind of short, actually. He went on at 9 and it ended at 10. What? That's what people go. That's what? I don't know. That seemed kind of short. Maybe I'm tripping. I ain't never had to do a concert, but that just seemed kind of short. That seemed. He was up there for like an hour and 30 minutes. What? I thought a concert would be at least like 3-4 hours or something like that. But I guess I don't know better then. Okay, I'll take that. All right, so I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit here. So let's talk about the victims a bit. 8 died the night of the concert and were all publicly identified by November 8th, ranging in age from 14 to 27. Damn. 25 others were evacuated to local hospitals, including 11 people found in a state of cardiac arrest. As of November 10th, 3 victims were in critical condition, including a 22-year-old declared brain dead from her injuries on November 9th, and a 9-year-old in a 9-year-old in a medically induced coma after being crushed and trampled. Oh no, 9, Travis, you're fucked. You're fucked. 14 was bad enough. 9, you're fucked, man. Like, look, he's not going to prison or nothing over this. he gonna pay out some money, but I mean, he's gonna feel the backlash from this event for years to come. I mean, this is like when Chris Brown got into that physical altercation with Rihanna. I think this is very similar. This is going to be one of those things where it's going to be years. It's going to take years for him to get through this shitstorm. Because you remember with Chris Brown, it was the same thing. He had this big negative event take place where he got into a physical altercation with Rihanna, and they had the pictures of her with the bruises and the cuts on her face, and it was just extreme backlash against Chris Brown. And he went on a extreme apology tour and went to court and this and that. And over the years, he's finally managed to get the masses to pretty much forgive and accept him again. And I think that's really what Travis Scott is about to go through, man. It's about to, it's about to be bad for your boy. Like this is going to take years to recover for him. It's going to be, I mean, I'm talking at least you're talking at least 2 or 3 years, man, to get back to the point where, people like now Chris Brown can drop an album and it's like nobody's really thinking about what happened with Rihanna, right? And I think that's going to be, it's going to take some time for Travis Scott to get to that point where he can drop new music or album and it not be accompanied by, cancel Travis Scott or fuck Travis Scott and don't support the album, don't support his music, so let's, one more thing here I want to read. So during the show, that weekend, Chief Peanut expressed to the New York Times the bully pulpit and responsibility he felt Scott and the organizers had to have stepped in and paused the show, explaining that the one person who can really call for it and get a tactical pause when something goes wrong is that performer, clarifying it would have been very helpful if the person with the mic had said, "Hey, shut this thing down and turn on the lights until this thing gets corrected." Videos of other concerts being paused by artists such as Kurt Cobain, Adele, Dave Grohl, Rihanna, A$AP Rocky, Chris Martin, and Mike Shinoda to address safety concerns and medical emergencies soon went viral in response to the incident. It's like I mean, it's just looking worse and worse for him, bro. I mean, Kurt Cobain, you would have thought he would have been too drugged up to notice anything in the crowd. Even he, I guess. I don't know, man. They don't look good. They don't look good. In public Facebook posts made both during and immediately after the event indicating he oversaw a security team working at the concert that night, Houston-based security director of CSC, Jason Huckabee, posted numerous criticisms of festival attendees, saying it was sad that all those kids inside died and other are still in the hospital because this generation has no value in other people's lives. His guards spent 10-hour shifts trying to stop waves of dumbasses breaking down fences, trying to rush in, and adding a lot of these idiots were from 15 to 22 in age. Reached by the Washington Post by phone November 10th for follow-up, Huckabee declined to comment, citing advice from an attorney. Yeah, he better lawyer up. That's some harsh work. But you know what, man? I'm going to keep it a buck because I'm in a position where I can do that. That's a good point. That's a good fucking point, because at the end of the day, you can blame the Travis Scott as much as you want. You can blame the promoter, security, whatever. At the end of the day, the chaos, the ones that were pushing and shoving and stomping and trampling and getting high and drinking it was the people in the crowd. It wasn't like Travis Scott jumped down in the crowd and just started strangling motherfuckers and started stuffing those people. Yes, I agree with the fact that as the artist, the person with the mic, you have the power to conduct the energy of the crowd. But let's not act like this is the first concert or crowd where the energy of the concert was go, 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 turn up, turn up, turn up. Like get crunk, get buck, jump, make noise, get crazy. Like, this is not the first concert where that was the energy of the crowd. Like, I mean, come on, and probably not even the worst. I bet some of these like metal, like metal concerts that have probably been way more turned than this. But when it comes right down to it, it was the people in the crowd who were doing who were engaging in the disorderly conduct. I mean, when you talk about people jumping over barricades, and even like seeing that video of people forcing their way through the ticket gate, I mean, that right there tells you a lot about the mentality of the concert goers. You know, you can't just put all the blame on Travis Scott and the promoters. A lot of it has to do, yes, with the people in the crowd and their attitudes, their mentality, and their lack of regard for the lives of the people around them, right? Where you're so caught up in that mob mentality, that mob energy, that you just forget simple human decency. I know I was watching a video. I think it was I think his name is Bruce Rivers. He's a criminal lawyer, and he does videos where he responds to events like these in hip hop culture, videos of rappers like self-snitching and being arrested, and he gives like his take as a professional criminal lawyer. He has an awesome channel. I encourage you to check it out. I'm giving him a free plug here. But he had equated the energy of this crowd to what we saw in Washington on January 6th, where when you get a bunch of people together and the energy is that high energy, that rebellious, I don't give a fuck energy, suddenly you have people doing things they normally wouldn't do, all because they're surrounded by people doing it. You know, normally you wouldn't rush a government building without permission, but when everyone's doing it, now you feel like you have permission. And it's the same thing with this concert. Normally you wouldn't force your way through a ticket gate, but when everyone's doing it, you just like, fuck it. And so I think the blame goes all around from Travis. I wouldn't even really say, I don't know, man. Because I was about to say the promoters, but it's like how much say do they have in these situations? Like, I'm thinking maybe moving forward, like, people are definitely going to take greater precautions to make sure shit like this doesn't happen. And I think maybe you need to have someone outside of the artist who has like a kill switch or something that can shut the music down and turn the lights on. Like, maybe have, I don't know exactly how this would work, but I think it's not a far-fetched idea, but maybe just have someone closer to the crowd, more, maybe not necessarily like straight up in the crowd, but have a designated team, on standby who are observing the state of the crowd, right? And if they determine that things are getting too chaotic and to the point where it could potentially cause harm or death to individuals in the crowd, then they would have permission and the authority to hit a kill switch or something that would shut off the music, turn on the lights, and get the attention of the artists, one, but also the people in the crowd, so that they can calm things down, so that they can address the whatever's going on in the crowd that might be causing harm to someone. I mean, that's just an idea. I think that's a good idea. Instead of putting all the blame on the artist, I mean, Travis, he's just gonna have to bear the brunt of this right now. That's just the way that it is. But an idea that I have just moving forward, I think that it might be worth having a team of individuals whose job it is to observe the crowd, and they will have the authority to temporarily shut things down and get the attention of the artist performing, so that he can aid in calming things down, so that the whatever's going on can be addressed. That's But yeah, that's of course, there's going to be lawsuits and whatnot. According to the Houston Chronicle, there's going to be at least 36 lawsuits. Let me see. According to state legal experts, that number was likely to grow, with total liability likely reaching into the hundreds of millions in cases that would stretch out in court for years. And that's why I said this is going to be following Travis for quite a while. And defendants named among them included both Travis Scott and Drake. Drake got pulled into it. The promoters, Live Nation, NRG Park, ASM Global, NRG Energy, CSC, Cactus Jack Records. Is that Mankind? I don't know. But yeah, it's not gonna go too much further into it than that. I think that pretty much sums it up. But it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that, you know, people had to die for no good reason. And it's gonna be very hard for Travis moving forward, because people are definitely gonna hang this over his head for years to come, and just the legal trouble he's about to go through. I mean, the court dates and oh my God. But luckily he's married to or at least in a relationship with one of the richest Kardashians. So money isn't an issue, but money isn't everything. You know, peace of mind is more important, and this is going to seriously disrupt his peace of mind. And you know, that's I mean, it's something that he's gonna have to deal with. But you know, obviously my broke ass, I ain't never had a concert or anything like that. I did do like something at my friend's mom's party like years and years ago when I was still in the group, but we'll never talk about that ever again. But I've never had like a concert or anything like that. But you know, I'm the type, I learn from other people's mistakes, and I think as an artist, should I ever be in that position where I'm having a concert and there are thousands of people or even hundreds of people, I'm going to always keep this in mind. I'm going to always keep this event in mind. And I think any other artists out there, famous or not, should too. And it's just always remember this tragedy, because one, you don't want people to die. You don't want your fans dying at your concert, one, but also just the backlash and the legal troubles that are gonna follow. I mean, Travis is about to go through hell. He's about to go through a real shitstorm like he's probably never experienced in his life. And I hope he comes out on the other end okay. I hope that the families of the deceased, I hope they manage to get through this tragedy the best that they can. But yeah, as an artist, I'm always remember this as a case study of what not to do. And again, I think that people should really look into the idea of having a separate entity, at the concerts who have the designated role of observing the energy and state of the crowd and making sure that everything is okay. Because to be honest, I'm not really that upset at Travis Scott, because I can see why he didn't think it was as bad as it really was. I can see that. And he did demonstrate some amount of care when he did see something happen. He hit the pause button and let the professionals do their job, and then he started doing his thing again. So he did show that he was at least somewhat aware of what was going on, and if he saw something wrong, he was going to address it. And just, I can just imagine that in that position, that it can be difficult to really know exactly what's going on and the severity of the chaos, because again, you expect chaos. You're the conductor of chaos, and nothing that bad has happened thus far, so what's the worst that can happen now? But like I said, man, it's fucked up. It's a tragedy, and we'll just have to see where this goes into the future. And that is the news for the day. And next, we're going to have the OC segment, so stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so hold on, let me adjust the mic a little bit. Guard your ears, people. So we have the OC segment, my favorite part of the day. We got 5 songs for you people. Original content from the underground music artists from the internets. So let's get right into this. So this first song is by an artist. Hold up, what is his name? This first song is by a Illafine featuring Astroworld, and the song is called Overrated. Let's go.
I'm Donnie Matic, donning automatics on a democratic versus radic. Used to be lymphatic, get a fat shit on this crap shit. This is fucked up a gasket, fit it up, call it fashion. Hit her up, then I clapped it, give a hat tip. I give these walls some aerosol, curbing y'all like feral dogs. Murder y'all, Aurora Mall, shit on rappers, dirty stalls. Get to cleaning pissy walls, cussing out these lippy moms. Hit decline on all your calls, dropping 50 on my jaws. Right this way to the chopping block, talking to souls in a walkie-talk. Slipping a whip when I'm dropping the top, leaving the rock when the beanie goes drop. I let my left foot make contact with the pavement. My right foot does kick flips in my homie's basement. There's one guy that I know does rock like a caveman. I'm just that one guy that loves getting wasted. Ripping up flesh on a Friday night, looking new with some lube and a tight fleshlight. Making moves for the kill when it kills just right. Hit a groove on key and we stoned all night. Take bitches out like Chinese food, low to the ground, that's how we move. Take it from this chalk white dude like a ball to the hoop when I'm talking to you. Hey, yeah, I'm complacent. I'm that dude you say you always fucking hated. Overrated, cause I waited. Time is money, so I went ahead and paid it. Hey, yeah, I'm complacent. I'm that dude you say you always fucking hated. Overrated, cause I waited. Time is money, so I went ahead and paid it.
Top of the morning, sorry in corner. Things I want for people to ride it for me. I'm on what's in the fish store. This is gonna make me fucking horny. Oh my lord. Say I should be sore. Part of the crew, part of the ship. Laughing on the beat, I can't remember a beat. Holy shit, stay on the show, my grind. I have so good that press rewind. But so spooky, you know it's the sun. From the purposes all day and night. Do my jar on week away. Sorry, Rose, you know I can't stay. Focus with the but the time is over. None of your pussies leading me astray. Getting in past like I'm Junior Trust Dad. Feeling the mother go down in my swag. The vampire lady when I bite on my neck. The thing got a chance, I'm bad, yeah. Careful, drip no way, though. Me dropping by who the fuck you go. Wanna check, see my CV hole. 5 players in the scenario. I can't understand what I just went to quit the way you play pretend. I don't fucking know I'm supposed to rap here, man.
Hey, yeah, I'm complacent. I'm that dude you say you always fucking hated. Overrated, cause I waited. Time is money, so I went ahead and paid it. Hey, yeah, I'm complacent. I'm that dude you say you always fucking hated. Overrated, cause I waited. Time is money, so I went ahead and paid it.
Okay, so that was Illafine with Overrated featuring Astroworld. So my first impression of this song, I really love the beat. I really like the beat. I mean, you know, I guess most of the time a good song is going to be accompanied by a good beat. But I think this song, you know, no offense to the to the rapper, and I believe he produced it too, though. I think when I looked at his SoundCloud, I think he produces his beats too. I gotta check it again, but the beat, man, I swear, this is one of those songs that was kind of like, in a way, it's carried by the beat, because I feel like with this kind of beat, any halfway decent rapper can make a good song with this. That beat was really dope. That is a certified dope beat right there, man. And the rapper himself, Illafine, I think he has a good flow, a good grasp of rapping. Um, I like how when the hook comes in, you can tell that he knows to double or triple or even quadruple his vocals and spread it around the stereo field as well. So he has a grasp, at least a basic grasp of song making, and knowing to differentiate the sound between the verse and the hook. I like that because you can tell like that's what I do too, right? When the hook comes in, it's gonna sound more richer, it's gonna sound thicker, it's gonna have more layers of vocals than the verses, typically speaking. And the only thing about it is I think the quality of his vocals leaves much to be desired. I think the editing of it could have been better, particularly his first verse. And to be honest, the feature he had, Astro Rap, oh god, like he his verse was not very good. I could barely understand what he was saying. It was like he was rapping in like this fake Bone Thug type flow. And I really just couldn't understand him, and he didn't have the same level of skill in rapping as the guy who did the first verse. So that kind of held it back too. But overall, I think this is a good song. I would actually go as far as to say I would keep this song on my phone in my music playlist. Like that's a high honor. That's a high honor. This isn't just OC that I'm gonna check out, promote, and toss in the recycling bin. I like this song. I'm gonna probably put it on my music playlist on my phone. So I give this song here a 3.5 out of 5. But gotta be honest, it's mostly for the production, the beat. That beat, I really just love that beat. So next we have check the list here. Next we have Unknown with Chaos Rap. Well, that was interesting. That was Unknown with Chaos Rap. Look, you got to give him credit for one thing. The title. Oh, hold up, my alarm went off. The title definitely fits the song. That was definitely some chaos rap. I heard rocket launcher and slam that asshole. Oh man, then that random smooth jazz at the very end. Oh my god, dude. But I gotta, I appreciate people doing things differently. I like just the fact that people think outside the box. Like that's definitely something that's very unique. But unique doesn't always mean good, and it's kind of it takes a toll on the ears, that kind of music. Definitely not my cup of tea, but I would encourage him to stay in his lane and try to see what he can get out of it though. I can see I can see potential there. I can definitely see the potential there. If you find like that right balance between the chaos and the rap. But given that it's not really my cup of tea and it's very, very, very rough around the edges, I would give it a 1.5 out of 5. But I still love you. So the next song is going to be, let me check my list here. Oh, great. A Facebook ad. Next, we're going to have Bed Kaczynski with Tenure.
Tenured at the car wash, rather be elsewhere-ishness of your face tells me I must have come on what seems like a pretty awful day. But you still did a pretty bang-up job, so I'll let you keep change. But if I had it my way, I would have traded you my keys and my car, all the clothes off of my back so I could watch you drive real far. Tenured at the gas station, I'm waiting for you to grab my smokes. Tenured at the car wash, tenured as an alley cat, tenured at the local bar, tenured as a walking mat.
That was Bed Kaczynski with Tenured. What genre is that anyway? Is that like soft rock or I'm not even sure. I need to figure out because I got to know what to call this white people music. I shouldn't do that. This is white people music. But I listen to a lot of wide variety of different genres. So that's why I like to add stuff like this into the lineup because I don't just listen to rap. And it's not like the only wannabe SoundCloud artists or rappers. You got guys doing like this what rock, punk, I don't know, grunge. I don't know what the fuck they call this shit. I'll call it soft rock. I'll call it SoundCloud rock, cloud rock. But I like the overall sound of it. But to me, it's a little bit too short. I like the lyrics are very interesting. I like the instruments in the background, but I just think the song is a bit too short. And I checked out his SoundCloud for a little bit. I checked out like a handful of songs and it's like he's got a decent thing going, but my main complaint is that most of his songs are just so short that it doesn't really give you an opportunity to really appreciate it. Like he got a lot of like 1 minute and 30-second long songs, and I try to go for at least like 2:30, 3:30, something like around there. But I think because it's like if you have a song that's like 1 minute and 30 seconds, like it's like right, like when I was listening to some of his songs, it was like right when it was starting to pick up, it's over, But I do like the kind of random, like, at least to me, it seems random, but I like the how random the lyrics seem to be, and it seems like he has a good understanding of song composition. I just think that he probably needs to make like longer songs. But I give it that a 2.5 out of 5. Yeah, I better clarify that these are out of like these. When I give these scores, it's out of 5, not 10. Might break someone's heart. All right, so next we have one of our own. This is a song by Flim. Now, if you don't know, Flim is the moderator on he's the moderator when I live stream my video game streams. And he left a comment that left this link to his Bandcamp, and he took one of my beats and did a rap over it. And I said, okay, I'll check it out so we can laugh at you. And so now it's time for that. So let's check out Flim with Skylight over my Federation beat.
I woke up today, what shall I do? I think I'll write a rhyme. About to seize the day like there's a crisis and I'm out of time. Man, I'm really chill, feeling nice like a frozen lime. But I got that spice, spark of life, call me Frankenstein. Yeah, I got a gut, I won't lie, I won't front. I've been eating well, I'm so blessed, I can't grunt. No, but it's time to move, time to run, time to jump, bruh. On the treadmill, antelope, we don't hunt, no. Late night on the stream, shout out chemo, shout out breaker, ayy. Long day at the desk, keyboard claps, I'm a maker, ayy. Air fryer set, cooking fish, salt shaker, ayy. I'm just living life, no strife, partaker, ayy. Get so sentimental, got me feeling like a mental, growing up so fast, look at the tassels like a flash, man. But I got them plans and I'ma put them into action. You just stick around, I stack the wealth just like I'm Batman. This is a bridge, bridge your fridge, This is a bridge, what's what a midge, I woke up today, what shall I do? I think I'll write a rhyme. About to seize the day like there's a crisis and I'm out of time. Man, I'm really chill, feeling ice like a frozen lime. But I got that spice, sparkling light from Frankenstein. Okay, here we go, time to spit the second verse, rapping on my mind, passion latched on like a curse, spit it once, spit it twice, mix it then rehearse, is that too long? Not really, keep it terse, bruh. Summer long gone, do I care? Nah, bring the heat, keep the reverb high, kind of music, make it move your feet. College student here, but I'm out here living like a neat. Screaming to the mic, mumble crap is only for the meat. Every day a new day, gotta find a new way. This life ain't forever, do it even if the sky's gray. Your life in your hands, time to mold it like some fine clay. I like Jersey Mike's, but I'm about to get it my way. This is a bridge, go reach your fridge, This is a bridge, go make it big, It's an outro, can you tell I live for structure? When I spit rhymes, feel like bursting, I'm a rupture. Shout out Marco, we crack some beats like they a sculpture. I'm on cloud 9, catch me soaring, I'm the vulture. It's the outro, can you tell I live for structure? When I spit rhymes, feel like bursting, I'm a rupture. Coming back soon, eardrums, I'm a puncture. Calculate these rhymes, I'm the real number cruncher.
I don't know about you guys, but I love that beat. So that was C Flim with Skylight. So now it's time to break Flim's heart and give him a harsh critique. And I got to make it real harsh because he's a friend of the channel. Okay, so let's break this down the best way I can. So in fact, I'll start with the good. I'll start with the good. So the good news is that you can rap, right? At a low level. At a low level. Like you got a basic, like you got like, okay, if this was a JRPG and rap is your level from 1 to 100, you're at level 5. Like, you're at level 5. You're not completely, and five is not good. 5 is not good. But if you can hit 5, then that at least shows that you have potential. So that's important. It's better than being a 1, right? Like a 1 is when I hear you, I'm like, this dude should not be rapping. But 5, all right, you're like a level 5 out of 100 right now. But like I said, you got like a basic, very basic understanding of spitting. But what you do not have, first of all, is the energy. And I would say in my quest to become a better rapper, the turning point for me skill-wise was the understanding of the importance of energy. Like if you ask me, I'm sure everybody would give you a different answer. But if you ask me, I think the most important thing as far as being a rapper and the most important thing in my opinion, is energy. Because you can have the dopest lyrics, but if you don't spit it with conviction, it's not gonna have the same impact. It's not gonna have the same oomph to it. And definitely, if you don't have lyrics, you certainly need energy, because there's a lot of rappers who are sustained by energy. I mean, you look at someone like Chief Keef. No one considers him to be a lyricist, but he has solid energy. And what's that other guy? He's a great example of this. Or someone like someone like Designer. You know, the guy that came out with the Panda song. I mean, he has a 2.5 in lyricism and a 90 in energy. But that's how far energy can take you. Energy is what allows a lot of rappers to get their foot in the game. It's not necessarily lyrics, but it's to having that energy. And you don't have that energy yet. And I didn't have it either when I first started rapping. If you look back at some of my older songs, especially like off my first mixtape, Blowed and around that era, I did not have the energy that I have today. And with energy, you don't really need lyricism. Energy takes you a long way. You don't really have that yet. So you got to develop energy. When I say energy, it's like, energy is like acting, right? The key to being a good actor is that you're not just saying words off of a script. You are performing it in such a way to where it's believable. If your character is supposed to be sad, you're able to convey that through your acting. If your character is supposed to be angry, you're able to convey that through your performance, your acting. It's the same thing with rapping. Is that you got to be able to convey a certain feel through the way you speak, the way you spit your lyrics. Like if you look at Zaku, for example, the second part of the hook when I just start going crazy, feeling like I'm Broly, feeling like I only like you. That energy is there, like because it matches the hard bars that I'm spitting. And so that's energy. And you got to develop that if you want to be a good rapper. Also, overall song structure was abysmal. You look at the first guy that I played and you notice how I gave him props for the way he structured the song, as far as you could tell what part was the verse and you could tell what part was the hook. It was easy. You could tell because the hook had more layers of vocals and it had a spread across the stereo field. You didn't have that. Like your verse was no different from the hook part and the bridge part and so on. And you have to. Now, this can vary depending on the kind of song that it is. But typically, you absolutely have to make it clear what part is a verse, what part is a hook, and what part is a bridge, and so on. Because otherwise, everything just seems to run into each other. And that's what this song just sounds like you took a beat and just rapped over it and did like. And yeah, it's like you just took a beat and you rapped over it. You didn't take the beat and turn it into a song. You know, you have to become one with the instrumental. You don't just take a beat and rap over it unless you're doing like a freestyle on Rap City or at a radio station or something, or maybe like a freestyle mixtape. But if you're in a business, if you're in the craft of making songs, then that's exactly what you have to do. You have to become one with the beat. And here you were not one with the beat. You just took a beat and you rapped over it. There's a difference between that and taking a beat and turning it into a complete song with vocals. But again, not to discourage you, it's just like I gotta be harsh sensei. I gotta be harsh sensei senpai here and let you know what it is. But I mean, just and also the overall quality. It didn't seem like the vocals were even edited that well. Also, but I would just since you listen to my music, just take notes from how I do things and what you notice. Like, pay attention. The same way I pay attention to shit people do in their songs. Listen to what I do and pay attention to what I do and the nuances of my songs and try to adopt some of those principles. Because really, a lot of it is just, standard rap shit. But I'll give that a 2 out of 5. Because that beat was so dope. I don't know who made that beat, but goddamn, dude. So next, we gonna have a blast from the past from yours truly, right? Might seem a bit conceited to include myself in the OC segment, but I do that every now and then. But I just wanted to play an old song from the Ganja Grinding mixtape because I went back. And I don't know how I ended up listening to it. I ain't heard this song in a long time. I was like, yo, this shit actually pretty dope. So this is Chad Marco with What We Gonna Do.
Yeah. Marco, GG, chill game. What the fuck we gonna do? Yeah.
What we gonna do? First I'ma call up friends, see who the fuck got that pass. Then what we gonna do? Pull up, smoke in my chest, swing by with a real nigga's ass. Then what we gonna do? Hit the studio with my goonies, yo, let's go get that cash. What we gonna do? What we gonna do? What we gonna do? What we gonna do?
What we gonna do?
First I'ma roll up, smoke till I'm toe up. Party we show up, no they don't know us. I'm having a good time, ain't talking Malona. Your girlfriend, she like me, I don't even wanna. Oh, you wanna fight me? Okay, then let's throw 'em on something like Ali and Rocky Balboa. Smoking poison ivy, I roll 'em and blow 'em. Man, I'm chillin' with my feet up doing big things. And I'm feeling like Vegeta with the big bang. Know a nigga gotta eat up, so I get change. Got a bitch, I never eat up, but I get brain. Sucky, they see a nigga blow up, try to hit me with the holder. Call it Nova and it's over. If you gonna get your door up, I'm just chillin', sippin' cola, smoking dope on the sofa. So little time, so much shit to do. I'm feeling fine, just might get some shoes. Spending cash at sighting. Diamonds flash like lightning. Peel out, then chill out, and watch Attack on Titan. What we gon' do? First I'ma call up friends, see who the fuck got that pass. Then what we gon' do? Pull up, smoke in my chest, swing by with a real nigga's ass. Then what we gon' do? Hit the studio with my goonies, yo, let's go get that cash. What we gon' do? What we gon' do? What we gon' do? What we gon' do? Living good, chillin' heavy in the bro. Hanging by the trap where the niggas cook. But everybody ain't cool, better look. Better watch it. Fuck around, get your cool shit took. Give me that. Certain places you ain't really supposed to go at. If you take a loss, you gon' have to hold that. Hold up, let me tell you where the hoes at. Anywhere I go, man, that's where I'm getting chose at. In the cut with the team blowing ether. Breaking down trees like a beaver. On the court, ice cold, giving fever. Bunch of hoes cheer for me from the bleachers. When it's time to roll, nigga, wake me up. Crack another bowl, better take me up. In the studio, where we going in. Money on the bag, nigga, throw it in. Do what the fuck I want to, like I'm Bam. Some niggas hate it, I don't give a damn. Went to the store and I left with a gram. Love all these hoes on my dick going ham. Where we gon' go? GPS on my app. With that shit, we gon' go any place on the map. Got a blood in my hand with your bitch in my lap. Yeah, she bad as fuck, ADTM is a rap. What we gon' do? First I'ma call up friends, see who the fuck got that pass. Then what we gon' do? Pull up, smoke in my chest, swing by with a real nigga's ass. Then what we gon' do? Hit the studio with my goonies, yo, let's go get that cash. What we gon' do? 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 First I'ma call up friends, see who the fuck got that pass. Then what we gon' do? Pull up, smoke in my chest, swing by with a real nigga's ass. Then what we gon' do? Hit the studio with my goonies, yo, let's go get that cash. What we gon' do? What we gon' do? What we gon' do? What we gon' do?
What we gonna do? What we gonna do? So that was Chad Marco with What We Gonna Do. That's a nice blast from the past right there, man. I just wanted to play that because I think that ganja grinding era of my music, that I feel like that was the point when I was starting to transition into a decent rapper. If you look at my earliest songs up until now, you can definitely see that the progress I've made over the years. And even like when I go back and listen to Robot Music 9001, I feel like I've grown a lot since then. And that wasn't even like that long ago. But man, it just shows that when you stick to it and you're consistent. Well, I think I was really consistent, but when you stick to it and you keep making songs, you get better and better. And that's why, even though this song wasn't that great, that wasn't the point. It's just that it's kind of nostalgic for me because when I listen to it, it's obvious that my energy isn't on the level that it is now, but I can look at this song as like being one of like, oh, like, man, like this song is actually like halfway decent. Like, whoa. And it's not like just one part that I like. I think it's one of the early examples of me making a very complete, decent song. And that's why I appreciate it so much. I give it like a 2.5 because it's not a great song, obviously, but it's the fact that when I look at it, I see it as sort of one of the songs that marked that particular part of my growth as a rapper, where I was starting to transition into like halfway, like from like to halfway decent. And that's why I just wanted to show that one off. I got to embarrass myself every now and then. But I hope you guys enjoyed that OC segment. And next, we're going to have the main topic where we talk about MIG TAO. So stay tuned, get some more snacks, gain some weight, and yeah, we're doing it.
I'm Donnie Matic, donning automatics on a democratic versus radic. Used to be lymphatic, get a fat shit on this crap shit. This is fucked up a gasket, fitted up, call it fashion. Hit her up, then I clapped it, give a hat tip. I give these walls some air.
So welcome back, and now we are about to submerge ourselves into the main topic, which is the internet group called MIG TAO. So if you don't know, MIG TAO, let me take these headphones off my damn head. MIG TAO stands for Men Going Their Own Way. It is a group that, it's a group of, it's hard to really take it seriously as an internet group. It's not like there's a building you go to, but whatever, right? But it's basically a group of men who came together to voice their concerns about dealing with modern day women and thus making the decision to avoid women to varying degrees, right? Because you got some guys who they go all the way their own way and they don't deal with women at all. You have some guys who they still hook up every now and then as it comes. Then you have you have like pretty much everything from just having casual hookup sex with women to complete avoidance. But the absolute main thing that a MIG TAO has to do is not get married, in my opinion. That's the main thing. Cause that's the big one. That's the big trap right there. So yeah, it's basically just a group of men who make a conscious decision not to deal with women, at least not in the traditional way that men are expected to, long-term relationships, getting married to them, having children with them and whatnot. Now some MIG TAO guys, they've already been married, went through the shitstorm of that, barely survived, and then decided to go their own way. Then you have guys like myself who just kind of observed the dating game from afar and saw the bullshit and made a conscious decision to, at the very least, not engage. Right? Like okay, let me go out and cold approach 100 women, right? But before I really get into it, I want to talk about like my own, like I'm sure I've talked about this before, but you guys know I don't wave the MIG TAO flag necessarily because I never really felt the need to. It was one of those things that it kind of just popped up out of nowhere, and I was just like, oh, well, this resonates with me. right? Because I can distinctly remember around the age of like 16 to 18. That's when, by that point, I had gathered enough knowledge on the mating game, so to speak, to understand that one, there's a lot of traps that go along with it. There are a lot of pitfalls there that can lead you into a bad situation. You know, I saw things like men being put on child support. Growing up, you see all these celebrities go through these high profile divorces and they lose all this money. You see the relationship drama, the toxic relationships, the abuse, verbal or physical. But not only that, just the amount of effort that men have to put into not only maintaining a relationship, but attracting a woman, keeping her happy. Then you got to take into consideration the quality of women you can attract based on your own attractiveness level and lifestyle. So it was so much to it that it made my head spin. And I had to really sit down and think about it because, you know, as a young adult, you try to figure out what you're going to do with your life. And of course, you got to think about what you're going to do with your penis. And so I just looked at the dating game. I looked at the mating world and I was like, you know what? I think I might be better off single. I think I might just roll with this whole virgin thing. And that's exactly what I did. It was like, because quite frankly, being a virgin didn't really bother me. Being single didn't really bother me. So I was like, you know, I was presented with these two choices of, you know, I can continue on the road that I'm already on, in which I'm a virgin and I'm single and it's not problematic, or I could embark on this new perilous journey into the world of trying to attract women and getting a girlfriend and potentially getting married and having kids and and obviously I chose the former. But I think it's important for me to express that I never really wanted to get married or have kids to begin with. And one thing you'll notice about me is that I never encourage guys to go their own way. I never encourage guys to try to be like me, because the fact is I never wanted those things. And it's easy for someone like myself to go his own way because I never wanted it. I never wanted to get married. I never wanted to have kids. At the most, I just wanted to, you know, of course, have sex, see what having a girlfriend was like. But I never really, the whole long-term thing never appealed to me anyway. So it wasn't some hard choice for me to go my own way. It was very easy for me to make. It was an easy decision for me to make because it suited my long-term goals anyway, or lack thereof. So I think that's very important to clarify. But like I've said before, before MIG TAO, I saw the whole herbivore male thing that was going on in Japan, and I was like, man, that sounds just like me. Then I saw MIG TAO, and I was like, whoa, I can't lie. It feels good when you see that you're not the only one feeling a certain way. It's very validating when you come to this conclusion about things that's very unusual and odd and sets you apart, and you start to feel like you're crazy, but then you see like, oh man, I'm not the only one who's seeing this. I'm not the only one who feels this way. And that was the good thing about me discovering MIG TAO, was that it let me know that at the very least, right or wrong, I'm not the only one who's seeing this, who's worried about this. And the rest is history. But like I said before, man, I never felt the need to wave the MIG TAO flag. You see guys, they get into content creation and they put the MIG TAO tag on their videos and whatnot. And that's you know, it's not a knock against them at all. But that's just not my way. I try to keep things as original as I possibly can. You know, even with the whole like robot thing, the whole, you know, that was cool because it's not a lot of people running with that, and even then I use that loosely. So yeah. But today I really just wanted to not necessarily talk about MIG TAO itself, because I think most of us, we already know what MIG TAO is and what it represents. But I want to talk more about the criticisms that have been raised against it, because I think some of them are valid, but some of them are pretty silly as well. But before I do that, I want to go read the Wikipedia page of MIG TAO, because I think that's pretty important to give you an idea of how people view MGTOW, right? Let me get a sip of water first. So let's take a gander at the MGTOW Wikipedia page. So it says, men going their own way, MGTOW, is an anti-feminist, misogynistic, mostly online community advocating for men to separate themselves from women and from a society which they believe has been corrupted by feminism. The community is a part of the Manosphere, a collection of anti-feminist websites and online communities that also includes the men's rights movement, incels, and pickup artists. Like other Manosphere communities, MGTOW overlaps with the alt-right and white supremacist movements. And it has been implicated in online harassment of women. The Southern Poverty Law Center categorizes MGTOW as part of the male supremacist ideology. Wow. And see, this is why I don't wave the flag. Because when you wave the MGTOW flag, you get scooped up and put into the same pot as what they're describing right here. Anti-feminist. No. Well, and look, but no. When I say that, anti-feminist, no. Misogynistic, no. Like, that's not me. But certainly some guys in MGTOW are that, right? Like, there are going to be guys in MGTOW who are anti-feminist. There are going to be some guys who are misogynistic. But the simple fact is this. It doesn't matter what group you're talking about. There are always going to be bad eggs. There is no perfect group. I mean, you look at Christianity, Islam, you can find good people in there. You can find the extremists, the bad people as well, right? Within Christianity, you have so many good people preaching the word of Jesus and participating in philanthropic work and donating and to the charity and spreading good, positive, strengthening wisdom. But on the other side, you have pedophiles, fucking little boys and shit like that, right? And then with Islam, you got the same thing where on one side you have good people, but on the other you got people blowing themselves up in the name of their religion. And you're gonna see these extremes within any group or organization. You have, like, I'm sure you have great feminists who just want the best for women. Then you also have the ones who go to the extreme. And it's the same thing with MGTOW, incel, red pill, all that shit. You're going to have the good ones like myself. I don't mean to toot my own. But you're also going to have some people who truly are misogynistic. And I think it's unfair. It's unfair to group everyone together as being misogynistic. Because I think that's just far from the truth. Certainly, you do have misogynistic ones within there, though. And then it overlaps with alt-right and white supremacist movements. Like, go on, dude. So, history. While it is not clear where the MGTOW ideology originated, it is believed to have emerged in the early 2000s. A blog called No Ma'am was one of the first sites dedicated to the ideology. Publishing a MGTOW manifesto in 2001, earlier members of MGTOW were largely libertarian. There is a divide between early and contemporary members of MGTOW, with some earlier members expressing derision. Is that how you say that? For the present-day MGTOW community, there have been several prominent online MGTOW sites, including the subreddit MGTOW, created in 2011, smaller auxiliary subreddits, and the MGTOW forum, an independent website that emerged in 2014. Following Reddit's 2017 ban of a large incel subreddit, r/MGTOW was briefly the largest and most active Manosphere forum on the site. MGTOW communities and their fellow Manosphere group, pickup artists, began to merge with the alt-right when it came to prominence beginning in 2015. The two groups overlap both in membership and in ideology. Both believe that feminism has destroyed Western society. So I can see that. When you look at the alt-right movement, that's definitely one of their major, that's definitely one of the major points that they try to get across is the effects of feminism, allowing women to lead and the negative effects that that's had on Western society, as well as the increase in promiscuity, a lot of these laws, and the sexual revolution and whatnot. So I can see how they kind of would how the ideology would kind of overlap. But the thing is this, bro. I think it's also kind of wrong too, because if you go to like a place like Pole, for example, I mean, that's like alt-right central, right? Pole, politically incorrect on 4chan. MGTOW, the MGTOW way, men going their own way, is not well received over there, because even though they agree on the point of feminism having widespread negative side effects on, or negative effects on Western society, they don't agree with the idea of men going their own way. They still preach the idea of finding a quote unquote trad traditional wife, getting married. So there is some overlap, but I think that it's not like how they're describing it here, because I think MGTOW and the alt-right can agree that feminism has been problematic, but they are ultimately going to disagree when it comes to how men deal with it, because it seems like the alt-right is still preaching that men just get married anyway. Find a good one, right? Just find a good one, get married. MGTOW is like, So MGTOW and other manosphere communities also overlap with various white supremacist, authoritarian, and populist movements worldwide. Far-right commentator polemicist Milo Yiannopoulos. I never realized how to say his name, but I know who he is though. He's that guy. Like, he was really popular like 4 or 5 years ago. He was a far-right cop. Yeah, he worked for Breitbart, if I recall, but he got into this scandal where he talked about the age of consent or something like that, and he's kind of been playing a role in the background ever since. But he's credited with helping to popularize MGTOW with a 2014 Breitbart article about the Sexodus, in which he described men who were eschewing women, love, sex, and marriage because of feminism. Researchers have implicated MGTOW communities in online harassment of women. In January 2020, a group of computer scientists published a preprint of a paper titled "The Evolution of the Manosphere Across the Web." Our MGTOW and the MGTOW forum were among the online communities which the authors said have been growing in size and in their involvement in online harassment and real-world violence. The paper was described in MIT Technology Review in 2020 as the most complete picture yet of the misogynistic groups that fueled the incel movement online, and in Der Spiegel in 2021 as the most comprehensive attempt yet to analyze the manosphere online. Shortly after publication, Reddit quarantined our MGTOW. A restriction the platform applies to subreddits determined to be extremely offensive or upsetting to the average Redditor, which prevents them from earning advertising revenue and requires visitors to agree to seeing potentially offensive content before entering. Our MGTOW was banned in August 2021 for breaking the site's policies against promotion of violence and hate. Whoa, that was a mouthful. Goddamn. And see, I think here we have an example of how you have the good mixed with the bad, because I'm not even going to sit here and act like there isn't some truth to what they're saying here, right? As far as like online harassment of women, right? Like, for example, one of my favorite Red Pill content creators is Coach Greg Adams, CGA. Check him out. Funny, informative, cool. But he, every now and then I hear him say something like, I posted something of a woman or a girl doing something sketchy or shiesty, right? And he'll warn people like, please do not harass this woman. Please don't go track her down and talk shit to her. Like, don't leave her alone. I'm just using her as an example. Look at what she did. Don't track her down and harass her. Right. But for him to warn people not to do that means that you have people who do shit like that. And so I know that this whole claim of online harassment of women it does have some basis in reality. Like that shit does happen. Like in MGTOW, outside of MGTOW, whatever, that's very real. Because you do have people, they will take it there. Like they'll go as far as like, they'll take something that was posted about a woman as an example of female nature, track her down, and then leave negative comments on her YouTube channel or Instagram, and that kind of immature shit. And so, again, this is the problem with waving the MIG TAO flag. You get grouped in with the knuckleheads and the assholes and the misogynistic bastards who are inevitably going to become or at least try to join in on these discussions and these forums, and then they're going to take it to an extreme, you know. Our MIG TAO was banned in August 2021 for breaking the site's policies against promotion of violence and hate. And again, I'm sure that there is some truth to that. I'm not even going to argue against that. But I think at the same time, you're kidding yourself if you're thinking that they weren't specifically targeted for reasons outside of that. You know, I mean, I'm sure you can find other groups on Reddit that, like, popular groups that have similar issues of people promoting negative things, but because the overall message is probably still in line with what's okay or considered favorable and fine within the mainstream or politically correct, they're not going to be targeted the same way Red Pill is or MIG TAO is. As a Red Pill or MIG TAO or Manosphere group on Reddit, you have to really be on your best behavior, because they're going to take any opportunity to get rid of you. And the bad eggs, the bad apples within your group are going to be your downfall. And other groups aren't going to have to worry about that as much. They'll just ban and deal with those people as they come along. But for a group like MIG TAO on Reddit, they're going to use it as an excuse to completely wipe you out. So this here describes a bit of the ideology, right? So it says, at the center of MIG TAO ideology is the notion of male separatism and the belief that society has been corrupted by feminism. MIG TAO groups are misogynistic and anti-feminist, believing that feminism has made women dangerous to men and that male self-preservation requires dissociating completely from women. So it's like, that's true. I mean, I'm saying, like, they're almost presenting it as if it's not true. That's what's kind of crazy about this. Like, this notion of male separatism. And I mean, let me just go deeper a little bit, right, on this particular point. MIG TAO groups are misogynistic and anti-feminist. Okay. Believing that feminism has made women dangerous to men and that male self-preservation requires disassociating completely from women. Now, this would be ridiculous if you didn't have so many examples of why this is true. Throughout history, for many different reasons, women have been the downfall of many, many great men and lesser men. So certainly you can't say all women, right? But most people wouldn't go that far. But yeah, women are a danger to men, the same way men are a danger to women. I mean, that's an ugly truth. The same way men can be a danger to women, which would require them to take certain precautions, women can be a danger to men as well. So it's not like this absurd notion that women, no, there are dangerous women out there that, you know, are doing all kinds of evil things to men, and vice versa. They believe there is systemic, is that how you say that? Systemic gynocentric bias against men, including double standards and gender roles, and bias against men in family courts. And all of that is certainly true. I mean, one of the biggest examples of that is when you're talking about like sex during intoxication, right? If you have a woman that is drunk and a man that is drunk, they have sex, and the woman could just up and say, well, I was drunk. I didn't consent with a sober mind. You raped me. Whose side are they going to take? They're going to take the side of the woman, even though the man was just as drunk, because you're putting your penis in her. They look at you like the predator and her the prey. you the villain and her the victim. So yeah, there are double standards. There are a lot of double standards. And truth be told, some double standards benefit men, while other double standards benefit women. I mean, the one of the classic ones that benefit men is, we have the ability to be promiscuous without it coming along with a significant amount of negative stigma. If we're promiscuous, then that's cool. Well, at least if the women are decent looking, right? You're a player, you're a pimp, you're an alpha male. Whereas if a woman is promiscuous, she's a slut, she's a hoe. Of course, they're fighting to destroy that stigma, but they're only going to get so far with that. A lot of this shit is deeply ingrained. I don't care how many slut walks you have. But my point is, though, is that there are double standards in gender roles, but it can apply on both sides of the fence, right? Some benefit men, some benefit women. And yeah, family courts do tend to favor women. I mean, come on, like you look at most of these judgments in divorces, there's always going to be this push to, like, let's get the woman as much resources as we possibly can, right? At least have, even though she really didn't put significant effort and work into building and acquiring that wealth. So yeah, like, it's like they're presenting this like it's not true, but it's absolutely true. MGTOW groups share a belief common among other manosphere groups that women follow a similar pattern in dating and marriage. Young and attractive women are promiscuous and engage in hypergamy, having sex with numerous men and abandoning a man if a higher value man shows interest. They believe women gravitate towards alpha men who are attractive but mistreat them, and that this solidifies their beliefs in feminism. As the woman begins to age, the MGTOW ideology explains that they choose to settle down with beta males who provide for them financially, but to whom they deny sex, sometimes choosing to have sex with attractive men outside of their marriage. Finally, the ideology holds that the women will divorce their husbands and that courts will favor the women in divorce proceedings due to what they describe as female privilege. And all of that is absolutely true. I think the issue comes when you try to say all women do this, and certainly you've never heard me say something like that, but it happens. It does happen, and I think that's the key. I think the way they're presenting this, you can tell that they're trying to make MGTOW look bad, but none of this is false. At best, you could say, okay, it's not all women. All women don't do this, obviously. But it happens, and it happens enough. And it's kind of like this, bruh. If there's a cave and people go into this cave, half of them come out with a handful of gold, and the other half never come out because they get eaten by bears, right? Now, you look at this situation. Now, some people going to look and say, well, I want the gold, so I don't care about the bears. I'm going in and get the gold, and I'm going to try to get out. And some people are going to say, well, look, I ain't trying to get eaten by a bear. It's not worth the gold. I'm not going in. And the way I look at the way people try to criticize MGTOW, it's like being mad at the guy for not wanting to go into the fucking bear cave to get gold. It's like, yeah, some people come out. Some people come out unscathed with a handful of gold, but what about the motherfuckers who got eaten by the bear? I'm crazy for not wanting to get eaten by a bear so I can get some gold. And that's kind of how I look at this shit, right? Yeah, not every guy who gets into a relationship with a woman is going to end up like completely fucked over. For a lot of guys, it's going to be the opposite. That woman's going to be a great source of happiness and joy for him. But at the same time, countless men throughout history, for them, women have been their downfall. Women in sex and marriage and all of these things. So, okay. I don't think I need to read the rest of this. The rest of this is kind of boring. Okay, but so I think that if you didn't know, now you have a pretty standard idea of what MGTOW is, at least how normal society perceives MGTOW. So that aside, I want to tackle some of the main criticisms that MIG TAO receives and just give my thoughts on them. Because again, I think some of them are kind of valid, some of them not so much, and everything in between. But I just want to say something interesting real quick, because I was watching this video, and if you're interested in MIG TAO stuff, you got to check it out. It's a video with Rollo Tomasi. He's one of the OGs of the Red Pill community. And he did a video where he was debating this. I think it's a white woman named Laura Southern. Is it Lauren Southern or Laura Southern? I'm not sure, but she's a fairly attractive white woman, and she has a pretty decent platform herself. And they got into a debate over like MIG TAO, Red Pill, and the manosphere, feminism a bit. And what I found interesting about their discussion, it was a good discussion. That they kept it very mature. It didn't turn into shit flinging. That's why I liked it. But what stood out to me was her criticisms of MIG TAO. I was like, yo, the shit she's saying about MIG TAO is the same shit that I see on like R9K when someone brings up MIG TAO, and it's the same criticism, right? And it made me realize something like, dude, I bet you that those MIG TAO threads on R9K, I bet you girls click on those threads and then they voice their opinion. And there's nothing wrong with that. But now it kind of makes sense why MIG TAO really doesn't get that much support on R9K, because R9K does have a minority but still sizable population of females. And inevitably a MIG TAO thread is going to attract them, because MIG TAO talk about women so much. And so, you know, when people talk about you, you feel triggered, or you feel defensive to defend yourself and your position. So of course they would. And I just found it funny. I was like, bro, she's saying the same shit I see in these R9K threads. It must be the girls. It must be mostly girls who's saying this shit. But let's get right into it, right? So one of the main criticisms that you will see against MIG TAO is all they do is talk about women, right? And they'll say things like, well, if you're going your own way, why are you talking about women? If you were going your own way, you wouldn't talk about women. And so here's my issue with that. I feel like with that particular criticism, what you have is outsiders setting the standard of what it means to be MIG TAO. They're setting a standard that MIG TAO itself never agreed to or said. What MIG TAO ever said going your own way means never talking about women. Never thinking like I'm never gonna talk about women. I'm never gonna think about women. I'm never gonna be around, right? Who said that? And so when I see that criticism, it looked to me that just looks like someone on the outside trying to set a standard of what it means to be MIG TAO, when MIG TAO never said that. Like MIG TAO never said, oh, well, I'm never going to talk about women. Like, that's ridiculous. And so I believe that naturally, when you're in a situation where you see an ideology that you don't like, you got to find something to like you got to find chinks in the armor. And I think that's one of the reasons why people always take that angle. But like I said, the thing about going your own way, certainly different guys, they take a different approach as far as how far they go to avoid women. But personally, I've never heard someone say, I'm never going to talk about women, or I don't talk about, like, I've never seen it. The main thing that you'll see that most guys will agree to is you don't get married, right? That's the main one. Don't get married. Don't move in with a girl. You know, just pretty much never put yourself in a position where women can do you harm. And so when people say this, it's like, one, you're trying to create the standard of what it means to be MIG TAO, and one, it has nothing to do with you. And two, the people who created the movement never set that standard for themselves. You have to understand what the goal of the MGTOW man is. When a man talks about going his own way, the goal is not, okay, I'm never going to talk about women. The goal is to not put yourself in a position where women can manipulate and take advantage of you and put you in unfavorable situations and do harm to you financially, physically, emotionally. That's MGTOW. You can talk about women till you're blue in the face, because the ultimate goal of MGTOW is simply not to put yourself in a bad position with women. I can still talk about women. I can fap to women. I can fuck women. But the MGTOW ideology, what it comes down to is not putting yourself in a bad position. It's not wrong to think about women. It's not wrong to talk about women. That's not putting yourself in a bad position, right? I mean, you can say, well, maybe you're wasting your time, but dude, most guys are going to talk and think about women if they like women, right? I mean, that's just a no-brainer. You know, why can the average guy talk about women and whatnot, but I can't, right? All I want to do is avoid putting myself in bad situations with them. And I'm sure that's what most other MGTOW guys care about as well. And also, whether you like it or not, MGTOW is about women, right? And you got to understand, MGTOW isn't about telling men which way to go. It's about, look, wherever you go, just don't go that way, right? Just don't take the traditional path of dealing with women, because it exposes you to a lot of risk and downsides that could have great negative effects on your life and well-being, right? It's when it comes right down to it, I guess the irony of MGTOW is that it's about women. It's about changing your approach to dealing with women so they can't do you harm, so they can't fuck your life up, essentially, right? And another reason why it's important to talk about women is that MGTOW is basically warning men, hey, this is what can happen when you're dealing with women. This is what you should look out for. And so what sense does it make to say something like, well, it's okay to go your own way, but I just wish you wouldn't talk about it. Just don't talk. No, don't talk. That's stupid. Like, okay, let's go back to Bear Gold. Let's go back to the fucking bear cave, right? I go to Bear Cave where it's bears and gold. I go in, I get my gold, but I get chased out by bears. You don't want me to warn people about the bears? Like, yo, it was a fucking bear in there. I got like one little clump of gold, but I almost got eaten by a bear. You don't want me to warn people about that shit? And so that's why it's important for guys to talk about this shit, bro, because it's so many men around the world who have been manipulated by women, who have been used by women, who have been set up by women, and put in all kinds of fuckery situations from dealing with women. And so, yeah, because of the internet, men have been able to come together and share these negative experiences and come up with strategies on how to navigate around them. And MGTOW is just one of those strategies. MGTOW is just like, okay, well, I'm just not even going to play the game, right? Which I think is fine. So the last thing on this point is, I have to say, I do enjoy and deeply appreciate the presence of women. Now, I can't speak for all MGTOW, but I don't hate women. I do not hate women. If all women were to disappear right now, I would be heartbroken, bro. Like, that would break my heart. I hate that shit. Like, life would be, oh God, dude. Life would be so much more boring without women around, man. And that might sound weird coming from someone who's a virgin and has never had a girlfriend, but let me tell you guys something, bro. If I were to die today, a single virgin, damn near wizard, I can honestly say that despite my lack of normal level of interaction with women, women have at the very least played a role in my enjoyment of life. You know, I can distinctly remember so many times where I was in a position where I could enjoy the presence of a female. You know, I think back to moments like when this girl rolled past me on a bicycle and I thought I knew her. So I called to her, but it turned out I didn't know her. But before we parted ways, I shook her hand, and I remember just how soft her hand was, man. That was the first time I ever touched a girl's hand. I was like, her hand is so small. It's so soft, like a baby. I just, simple things like that will stay with me forever. You know, when that cashier girl that was dating my friend was flirting with me, and even though I was, you know, I won't fucking with that. I can't lie. I enjoyed the attention. I still vividly remember when she touched my arm and how that felt, that confirmation of attraction. When she asked for my number or my Facebook or whatever, right? I still remember that. You know, I remember distinctly all these moments where women gave me choosing signals and how they made me feel. I remember the other night I was in Walmart, and for a split second, I met eyes with a girl, and it was like, for that small moment, looking into her eyes, it was like looking into a crystal clear lake that was reflecting a full moon. I mean, I swear, dude, like that's why I really should not get into a relationship, because I don't know if I'll be able to keep it together. Because I am kind of a romantic at heart. I'm fucking logical too. But I say all that to say that, you know, I love women. I love their presence. I get excited when I'm around attractive women. When I enjoy those little simple moments of just walking behind a female with a fat, juicy ass and just having full view to just look at it and just appreciate the view. And I like the way they sound. I like the way they smell, the way they move. Like, feminine energy is just a beautiful thing. But, you know, I say that and it's like, well, damn, why are you going your own way? And the thing is, the fact is that women can be very dangerous. And not only that, it's not just that women can be dangerous, it's that my goals and my desires more than likely are not going to line up with the desires of most of the women that I run into. Because the thing about me, and I think a lot of other guys that would consider themselves MIG TAO, is that, you know, we were forced to find a formula for living life to keep ourselves happy while not engaging in serious relationships, right? And when you achieve this, a certain level of happiness, you know, you don't want to compromise. And the fact is, you know, dealing with women requires a lot of compromises, and she's going to have certain expectations. And so, you know, these are just some of the reasons why, as much as I appreciate and enjoy the presence of women, I think with most women, I think it's very unlikely that I'm going to be able to find a woman where, you know, I can still continue to live my life the way that I want to. And she's going to be satisfied with my level of investment, which isn't going to be high. I can guarantee you that, because most women, they want a high investment out of men. And so, you know, that's just some of the reasons why. I guess a better way to describe it is like, it's like you might go to the zoo and you enjoy seeing these animals, these exotic animals, the tigers, the lions, the bears, the wolves and whatnot, the monkeys. and you enjoy their presence. You enjoy looking at them. You have an appreciation for these exotic animals, these organisms that are different from you. But you wouldn't dare hop that fence and go play with them. Not if you want to live. You're not about to hop the fence and go jump on top of one of them damn lions, start playing with it like it's a kitty cat, you know? That thing is about you about to get mauled. And maybe that example is a bit too extreme, but that's kind of how I feel about women. It's like, it's the same way. I don't hate bears. I don't hate lions and monkeys. I appreciate these other organisms that exist. They make life more interesting. They make the world more interesting. But I'm not about to go in their territory and start playing with them motherfuckers. I'm not about to get beaten to death by a chimpanzee. And that's kind of how I feel about women. I don't hate them. I really don't. I appreciate them. I enjoy them, and they played a role in my enjoyment of my life. But the simple fact is that a lot of women are toxic. A lot of women pose a danger to us, and not even out of malicious intent a lot of times. It's just we have different desires. We look at things differently, right? I mean, like, just for example, when I look at these examples of women divorcing men and taking all of their shit and all that, I don't see evil. I don't see that like, oh, this woman is evil. No, she made the logical, like, it's the logical thing to do. When I look at how women approach dating and mating, it's logical. Most of the time, right? I don't get the whole bad boy thing. I think that's one of the stupider aspects of female attraction, but I digress. But most of it is logical, right? Okay, I'm young and in my prime. I'm going to have sex with all the hot guys that like me and I like them. As I approach the wall, I'm going to lower my standards temporarily to attract a beta who won't mind used goods, or even a single mother. I'll use him for his resources that I really need. And guess what? If I get him to marry me, then I can divorce him and I can get the resources while also obtaining my freedom back. I no longer have to submit to a beta male that I'm not really attracted to. I can go back to the streets and be with the guys that I'm really attracted to. So in the end, I have the resources and I have the ability to operate as a free woman who's not submitted to a man in a marriage, and I have the freedom to come and go with the alpha males that I really like. That's logical. Yes, they should do that. What? It's like if you see $100 in the street, do you not pick it up? I mean, what? So when I see women doing this, it doesn't make me upset. It's just like, okay, well, I don't want that to happen to me, so I'm not going to put myself in position for them to do it to me. The same way when I see a lion hopping on the back of a zebra and ripping his throat out, I don't say fuck that lion. He's doing what he has to do to survive. He made the logical choice of targeting the weakest zebra and killing and eating him so that he and his collective of big cats can survive. It's logical. It's nature. It's what he should do. And the same way you look at the zebra who's running his fucking ass off away from the lion, it's logical. It's nature. It's what he should do. And so when I look at both sides of the fence, the women and what they do and how men are starting to react to it, I don't see good and bad. It's not good and bad. It's just both sides are trying to protect themselves and fulfill their personal desires as far as, you know, what they require out of a relationship. I don't see this as good and bad. It's just men and women are not always going to see eye to eye, and women are going to be selfish and go for what they want. Men are going to be selfish and go for what they want. And when you have this, no one is necessarily wrong. It's just that, like what they always say, all is fair in love and war. Love and relationships is conflict. It's a power struggle. It's war. May the best man win, or woman. That was a mouthful. God damn. So let's tackle. Oh, hold up. I'm gonna take a quick break real quick just to make sure I didn't fuck up the recording. I'll be right back. Okay, so let's continue. So the next big criticism that I often see against MGTOW is, you didn't go your own way. You were sent your own way, you incel. So this is one that I think there is some truth to this. There is definitely now bear with me. I know the MIG TAO brothers are like, what? But there is some truth to this, and I would go as far as to say Chads really don't need MIG TAO, right? Like Chads don't need MIG TAO. MIG TAO is appealing to a certain demographic of men. And I would say maybe not necessarily like incel tier, but I think guys who hover more around the average level of the important aspects of that are required to attract women, looks, money, status, guys who hover around the average level of these things, these are going to be the ones who are going to be more attracted to the idea of MGTOW, because the simple fact is this, bruh. The more attractive you are, the easier it's going to be to attract women. And not only that, it's going to be easier to deal with women as well, to a certain extent, right? And that's why I would say there is some degree of truth to the idea that they were sent their own way, because let's face it, it's not like women are just like banging down our doors like, why did you go your own way? Fuck me. Like, it's not like that at all. Most of the guys who go MGTOW, I mean, let's be real, like they're not the kind of guys that girls are all that attracted to begin with. I mean, let's be fair. But I think that the idea that this idea that, well, you couldn't get laid in the first place, that's why you went your own way, I think that's blatantly untrue. Because the reality is, even guys like myself, we can still attract lower quality, less attractive women. I would go as far as to say, like, a lot of these MGTOW guys, if they would lower their standards, and I'm not saying that as in, oh, you have high standards, you want to fuck supermodels. No, I'm saying, like, if you would be willing to date fat women, like ugly women, like blatantly toxic women, single mothers, if you would lower your standards to like bottom of the barrel women, which a lot of guys have no problem doing, if we would do that, we would have no issue getting with women. If we were willing to make the compromises and put in the effort, yeah, most of us could get women. So I think to say that we were sent our own way, I think it's true in the sense that we're not the attractive guy that just had women throwing themselves at us, and we were like, no, you and your feminist ways, I will not tolerate them. I am going my own way. And then you walk off into the sunset like Simone at the end of Gurren Lagann. That is not how this shit happens at all. Like, for the most part, most MGTOWs, I would argue, are probably like average type guys, maybe a bit more or less. And when you're in that category of man, one, it's going to be more difficult for you to attract quality women. It's going to require more effort, and no matter how attractive you are anyway, you still got to deal with, the tendencies and ways that most women tend to have, that we would call female nature. So with that being said, like no one is completely safe. Even if you're a Chad, you're not going to be completely safe from the chaos of female nature, because you see a lot of guys that you would consider high value, a lot of guys you would consider alpha Chad. You still see these guys getting divorced, being put in unfavorable situations because of women. So nobody is immune. But I think that the less attractive you are, the worse it's going to be. And so I think, less attractive men do have an incentive to go, like more of an incentive to go their own way than more attractive men. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think that's not unreasonable. It's not unreasonable. It's like if you want to play basketball, right? Say for example, you want to play basketball, but by 18 years old, you are 5'4", right? More than likely, you are not going to make it in the NBA. The odds are stacked against you, no matter how talented you are. Now, of course, you have examples of guys who made it into the NBA who are fairly short, but for the most part, it's a sport, an activity that favors the vertically blessed, to say the least. And so it's not unreasonable to say, well, look, I wanted to be a basketball player, but as hard as I work, I don't have the natural talent as far as the genetics that would give me a better chance of making it to the big leagues. I mean, even being tall, that's not enough by itself. You still gotta have work ethic, a bit of luck, and different skill sets to make it into the NBA, right? But being short on top of everything else you have to work through, I mean, it's not unreasonable to say, okay, well, maybe I should try something else. Maybe I should find a different lane. And that's kind of what I see when I see MIG TAO. I think to some degree, because really, when I think back to when I decided to go my own way, it wasn't like I sat there and I was like, I'm this great guy. I'm this great guy and I'm so good, but these women are so bad, right? It wasn't like that. Now, don't get me wrong. I love myself. I do think I'm a great guy, but when it comes to the dating market, when it comes to what women are attracted to, I'm not that, right? So don't confuse that with me. Don't confuse that with me saying, okay, I'm not shit, I ain't shit because girls don't like me. No. See, what you got to understand is that, and how I look at it is that just because I'm not attractive to women, that doesn't make me a bad person. I'm great in my own way, but I recognize that I don't have the traits that would make a broader range of females attracted to me to where I'll be considered an alpha male or a pretty boy or a player or something like that. I don't have it. That doesn't make me a bad person. I'm still great in my own way, but in the dating market, I'm low value, right? I'm high value in other ways, but when it comes to dating and being attractive to women, I don't have it. The same way I don't have it when it comes to football, right? I mean, you can even look at someone like LeBron James or Kevin Durant, right? Just to stay with the whole basketball thing. They have high value in the world of basketball, but if you pluck them out of the NBA and put them in the NHL, it's the exact opposite. They have, I mean, dude, fuck riding the bench. They're gonna be designated as water boys or something like that. I mean, they would have no value in that environment. And so when I think back to when I first went my own way, part of that process was taking an honest look at myself and realizing that, I'm not the kind of guy that's going to be able to attract the kind of women that I like, at least not with the amount of ease that would make it worth it. Yeah, I could probably get a cute girlfriend or two, but the amount of effort I would have to put into it goes beyond how bad I want it, And I think that's really a simple fact of it all. And also why I don't encourage guys to go their own way, because I quite frankly, I don't want it bad enough to work for it. Right. But again, a lot of that process was just being honest with myself and saying, you know what, I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. I don't have all the things that women really want from a guy. I feel like I'm awesome, but when it comes to getting bitches, that's not my thing. But yeah, when it comes right down to it, the less attractive you are from looks, money, and status, the harder women are to attract and deal with. So I would say, as far as men being sent their own way, I think that it's obvious that less attractive men are going to gravitate more towards the MIG TAO way, but I don't think that's unreasonable. So the next point is, you will see people compare MIG TAO to feminism, right? MIG TAO is just male feminism. And I can see why people would make that comparison, but there's one big point, one big thing that differentiates it from feminism. And I've seen Stefan Molyneux, is it Stephen or Stefan Molyneux? But it's a point that I've seen him make, and Rollo Tomasi as well. And the big difference between like the manosphere and MIG TAO or red pill compared to feminism is that feminism is backed by the state. Legislation and laws back up feminism, right? Like, women have advantages that are on the books of law, right? MIG TAO, red pill, all this shit is ideology. It's an idea. It's different branches of ideas of how to deal with women and female nature. It's not like you're going to go to court and you're going to be like, okay, dude, this MIG TAO law gives me the edge I need in this divorce battle, right? No. And not only is feminism backed by the state, it's also backed by mainstream media and our culture. I mean, you look at things like red pill on Reddit being quarantined and the MIG TAO board being completely washed from the site. And then meanwhile, I'm willing to bet there's a feminism subreddit that's just allowed to thrive and prosper as they please. And then you have subreddits like FDS, female dating strategy. I'm sure they're being left alone as well, and again, it's the difference is, it's okay to be a feminist. Like, if I jumped up and said I'm a male feminist, I mean, yeah, the fellas are gonna give me shit, but as far as like the mainstream and the overall culture, that would be supported. That would be fine. I wouldn't be canceled for something like that. I wouldn't be deleted. If I started a YouTube channel where I present myself as being a male feminist, I would have no worry over having my channel deleted, getting strikes. I wouldn't worry about none of that shit. I'll be fine. But if you make a MIG TAO channel or something like that, then you always gonna have to be worried. You're gonna always have to be worried about having your channel targeted and deleted by the powers that be, because the simple fact is, and this is just the way I look at it, right? When I look at feminism, again, I don't see, okay, these women are bad. No. When I see feminism, I see women who, they have a mindset where they are looking out for themselves. Everything they do, they're trying to benefit themselves and their fellow women. I don't see that as, okay, that makes you a bad person. Now, does that have unforeseen negative effects on society, sure. But the same could be said if you had a male equivalent, right? Either way, it's not going to be perfect, but I don't see it as, okay, this makes you bad. And so when I look at MIG TAO or the manosphere, I see the same thing. It's guys saying, okay, well, this is what it is. This is what I'm going to do so that I have the advantage, so that I benefit myself, right? So that I'm looking out for numero uno. So I look at these two groups, MIG TAO, feminism, male, female, whatever. And again, I don't see good, bad. It's I'm doing what I have to do to benefit myself. That's how I look at it. But the fact is, men doing what women are already doing and have been doing for the longest time, when we do it, it's perceived as a bad thing. It's perceived as, okay, that's toxic, that's misogynistic, that's not okay. You know, how dare you approach dating in such a way where you are able to avoid nonsense and toxic energy and being manipulated, and right? Because that's what I see. Again, I know you got the bad eggs, you got the true, you got some thoroughbred misogynists in the manosphere. Let's face it. But then you got some crazy feminazis as well. Like I said, it's gonna be bad eggs in every group. But the fact is, I don't see why people see it as being okay for women to approach dating in such a way in which they benefit themselves. But when men do the same thing, it's bad, it's toxic. Because I see them as doing the same thing. And another thing is, and this kind of is going off of my previous point, right? Where it's when women do it, it's okay, right? When women approach dating and sex in a way that primarily benefits them, that's okay. But when men do it, that's toxic, that's wrong. And it seems like, to me, it kind of seems like you could say both men and women are kind of throwing a fit here, right? But men are being targeted and pointing out like, you know, why are you doing this? Why are you going your own way? You know, this is going to have a bad effect on society and this, that, and the third. And it's like, okay, I see your point, but you know that these guys didn't just start going their own way for no reason, right? And my point is just this. You can't sit there and try to hold men primarily accountable for what's going on. You have to address the role that women are playing in this as well. But a lot of people don't want to do that. That's why Kevin Samuels has become so popular, because he's a man who's been able to hold women accountable, so to speak. He's a man who's intelligent and well-spoken enough and also masculine enough to have these discussions with women and shut them down with, like, at every turn, basically holding them accountable in a way that men have just been unable to in recent years. That's part of the reason why he's become so popular, because it's entertaining and interesting to see someone who's able to have these discussions with women and present these red pill, MIG TAO, manosphere concepts to women in a way that they understand what he's saying, even if they don't agree with him, you know. But like I said, man, part of the problem is that people want to call out men for what they're doing while not addressing the role that women are playing. You know, it's kind of like, it's like if you have a kid that's being bullied, right? And he gets punched in the face and he's had enough of it and he punches the bully and knocks him out. But then everyone looks at the kid who knocked out the bully as being the bad guy without addressing the fact that the bully threw the first hit, threw the first blow. That's kind of how it feels. It's like people just want to point out what negative effects the manosphere could have on men and women in our without addressing the fact that it's more of a reaction to what women were already doing, which was a reaction to what men were doing. Again, I'm not trying to say that, oh, men good, women bad, because I can see why feminism emerged anyway, because the fact is that women have had to go through a lot of bullshit as a result of men being allowed to dominate and control them throughout the ages. And feminism, the way I see it, was a rebellion against that, right? But why did those men try to have that level of control in the first place, right? So who threw the first stone doesn't matter at this point. But the fact is, if you want both men and women to come together and figure this out, you have to hold both sides accountable. You can't just sit there and ban the MIG TAO subreddit and then leave up I bet you they got about 100 feminist subreddits. But man, what it comes right down to is that relationships require compromise, right? When men and women come together to create families and relationships in which two people merge their lifestyles together, it requires compromise, but now we have this situation where it seems like more and more men and women are being divided, and nobody wants to really come together and say, okay, I'll make the compromise. And the reason for that is because they know the other side isn't trying to do that. So it really, man, it's a ugly situation, but that's what happens when things become unbalanced. It's like when you look at that training exercise in the military where you have like 12 guys holding up one log. If 6 of the guys just decide to fuck off and leave the other 6 carrying the log by themselves, you expect them to just sit there and suffer it out? No, they're gonna say, well, look, if you say fuck it, I'll say fuck it. And then poof, you just drop the fucking log. And that's what I see when I look at relations between men and women. It's like women don't want to carry. It's like women have relinquished a lot of their sacrifice and investment in relationships, or I said that in a stupid way. I'm trying to rewind real quick. But yeah, women have put themselves in a position where they no longer have to sacrifice as much, but they still want men to make the big sacrifices and investments. And men are like, and so they're dropping the log. Like women, they've dropped the log, and so men are dropping it too. And so that's pretty much how I see it. There's nobody wants to make the necessary sacrifices to make the family unit work, because they're afraid of the other half not holding up their end of the bargain, not carrying their portion of the weight, and they don't want to get crushed by that weight. And that's really what it comes down to. And so the final point that I want to address is, and this isn't really a specific criticism, but just an observation that I noticed, and it makes sense. But why don't women like the red pill and MGTOW, right? So why does it bother them? Because I do think MGTOW bothers women. They won't admit it. They won't admit it. I think they're too proud to admit it. And, they're riding the wave of being young and attractive. So it's like, whatever, loser, go your own way. But I think, especially after watching that Laura Southern Rollo Tomasi video and the things she said and how it clicked with everything I've been seeing in these R9K threads, it made me realize, like, yo, those girls have been in those threads saying this shit. But why does it bother them? Why don't they like it, right? Because you would think, why would you care that the guys you don't like anyway in the first place are going their own way, right? Shouldn't you be glad about that you don't have to worry about these undesirable men chasing you down, trying to hit you with pickup lines and asking for your number? hollering at you at the grocery store, at the mall, when you just walking from point A to point B. Like, and from the men's side of things, why would you care that other guys are taking themselves out the game? That's less competition for you. That's more women for you. But for some reason, MIG TAO rustles Jimmy's. And I think part of what it comes down to is this. Most women, at some point, they're going to want or even need a beta. At some point, they're gonna want and need a beta. You know, I mean, because and when I say beta, right, I think I gotta clarify here, because you know we've gotten to the point where it's seen as like alpha good, beta bad. But let's be realistic. How many guys are really alpha? Like most guys are not. I'm not fucking alpha. You can say I'm beta, right? I just wouldn't say beta as in like, you know, like it's all right. It's different kinds of beta, right? I think there's an okay beta and there's a bad beta. And the okay beta is kind of like how you might have a company where you have a boss or an employer and the employees. It's not bad to be an employee. But if you're an employee, you're not the boss. You're not the employer. But that's not necessarily a bad position to be in, unless it is. And I look at the alpha beta thing the same way. It's not that being a beta is bad. It's just that you're not the alpha. And it's levels to being beta. Like you can be so beta that it's bad, but being beta isn't bad in of itself, is what I'm saying. You know, and I think a lot of guys who are MIG TAO, they are not alpha. They would be considered at best like a manly beta with his life together, right? At best. But most MIG TAOs, come on now, we're not fucking alpha. We're not the alpha males with women throwing themselves at us. But betas are very important for women because alpha males are few and far in between. Alpha males are the minority. You're talking about the most attractive of men, a minority of men, the wealthiest of men, the toughest of men, the most intelligent, the most loved, the most famous within any community or group. Alpha males are very few, at least when compared to all the betas. And so I believe that women understand that at some point, most of them are going to have to settle with a guy who would be considered beta. But if all the betas come together and say, hold up, you know what? Let's not be beta providers. Let's not get married. Let's not move in with women. Let's not pedestalize women. Let's not provide for women. If enough beta males come together and decide to not play the role that's expected of them, is going to have a negative effect on women. Bottom line. Because at the end of the day, most women, they're going to want a beta or even need a beta. It's just the way that it is. And the more guys who adopt this mentality of avoiding women or not getting married, it's ultimately that's not going to benefit women. I remember seeing a post on Reddit that was written by a woman, and she said something that was right in line with what I'm saying. And she was like, something like, I've been dating, and it seems like more and more I keep running into like these red pill. I keep running into these red pill guys, like these guys who don't want to commit, they don't want to get married, and you know, stuff like that just confirms that all this stuff that we're seeing as far as like the manosphere, the red pill, all these different, you know, groups, and it's just these ideas, it's gonna have an effect on our reality at some point. It's only a matter of time before it leaks more and more into reality. And I think that women might talk shit about MIG TAO. Oh, you just talk about women and you were sent your own way. You're just a male feminist, but they know as that if enough guys do, like whether you agree with it or not, if enough guys adopt these ideas and this way of living, it's going to have a bad effect on women, because a lot of women, they are betting on getting a beta. And another point on this I want to touch though is like, I've seen women say things like, well, I don't have a problem with men learning about women and trying to better themselves, but I just don't like red pill. I don't like MIG TAO. I don't like the manosphere, right? And they'll go down the list, right? But then when I see stuff like that, it's like, okay, but if that's the case, where do men have to turn? Like, who do we listen to if not the myriad of men within the manosphere? Like, who? What, fucking Steve Harvey? What of us listen to fucking Steve Harvey? Like, that's what you want? And I believe that the fact is this, bruh. Women would never be satisfied or okay with men taking advice from any of the major pillars within the manosphere. That's just bottom line. Because the fact is, when you break it all down to its core, all these different tribes within the manosphere and the red pill and whatnot, bruh, it all comes down to one thing. And it's approaching dating and sex and women and really life as a whole in such a way where your focus is to benefit yourself. That's it. It's all about benefiting yourself as a man in everything that you do, from the way that you eat, the way that you work out, where you live, how you make money, and yes, how you deal with women. And that's why women will never accept the red pill or MIG TAO, because if as a man, my goal is to benefit myself primarily, then naturally that puts me at conflict with you as a woman, because you have the same goal. Because let's face it, it's not like women are approaching dating any differently. Like, okay, I'm dating with a mindset of sacrificing for my man, being a great wife. I'm gonna be loyal. Like, come on, bruh. That's not, women approach dating in such a way, okay, this is what I like, this is what I require, this is what I want, this is what I'm gonna do. Like, and I'm not saying that's wrong, but look, if you do that, then men are gonna do the same thing, and you have no right to get upset. I don't get mad at female dating strategy and all this shit women do. It doesn't make me upset at the very least, because I know they're just doing what benefits them. And so me as a man, I'm going to do the same thing. It's like if you have a business and not have a business, and we come together and we say, you know what, let's work together. Let's make a deal. Let's combine our powers to create a business deal that is mutually beneficial. Right? Why would I get mad when you come to the table with the mindset of, okay, at the end of this deal, I need benefits. It has to benefit me. You know, I'm not saying it can't benefit you too, but I definitely don't want to be on the short end of the stick. Why would I be mad at you for doing that? Like, you would never get mad at someone for approaching a business deal with that kind of mentality of wanting to sign a contract that at the very least benefits them, right? And so when I see what women do, it doesn't upset me, because they're just benefiting themselves. But I think a big reason why women don't like the red pill is because maybe subconsciously or even consciously, they know that men approaching dating with the mindset of benefiting themselves does not benefit them. I mean, it's bottom line, and vice versa, vice versa, you know, because, like, for example, I believe that marriage is a system that primarily benefits women. You can agree, you can disagree, whatever, but that's my point that I'm trying to make here. And so a woman is going to approach dating like, okay, I want to get married because it benefits her. It makes sense. But now you have guys like myself who don't see marriage as being beneficial for men. So I wouldn't want to get married, so I wouldn't want to do it. So now we have a conflict of interest. But neither one is bad. She wants marriage because it benefits her. I don't want marriage because it does not benefit me. No one's the bad guy here. We're just making the reasonable choice according to what benefits us. But that's why I think women don't like red pill, because ultimately it makes men behave in a way that does not benefit them. Right? And I might do like a night walk vlog on this particular subject, but I just want to touch on this briefly and the simple fact that relationships are a power struggle. Like, just it is what it is. Intimate relationships, like really relationships in general, are a power struggle. Because whenever you have two people who merge their lives together, you're gonna have conflict. Because you're not always going to see eye to eye with each other. Compromises are going to have to be made. Feelings are going to have to be hurt. I mean, it's just the way that it is. The best you can hope for is to find someone in which you can make that transition of going from separate entities into one as smooth as possible based on the level of compatibility that you have with your partner. But yeah, relationships are a power struggle. That's how I look at it. And whether you want to look at it from the female perspective or the male perspective, all I see is two groups who want to benefit themselves. And I think that I think it's much healthier to approach dating with that mindset of knowing that it's going to be a power struggle. And you got to go into it knowing what you want and what you need in order to maintain your well-being and your happiness, right? And just to give like an example of this, right? Let's say you have a man and a woman, boyfriend, girlfriend, they move in together, right? You, the man, you don't like pets. You don't like pets. Definitely not in the house. Like, never, right? Filthy animals in the house, never. But she's a dog lover. She loves dogs, man. She gotta have one of those small dogs in the house at the very least. Right there, you have conflict because she wants something that you don't want, right? And so how do you figure that out? You know, and I think this is where a lot of these red pill MIG TAO concepts come into play, right? Where you figure out, okay, how do I get my way when dealing with the opposite sex or even the same sex, right? How do I get my way in this relationship? It could be dealing with even your friends, right? Like I got two friends where they live together because they're brothers, and one of my friends, he got like 3 or 4 dogs, and the brother, he's annoyed by that fact because he's like the dogs are annoying or whatever. And so right there you have another example of like, you know, the power struggle of relationships, and they're siblings, right? So it applies on any kind of relationship though, family, friends, intimate, whatever. But that's really the last point I wanted to make. And I leave off with this, and I said it before, but I just want to get this point across. I think it's very important. I don't see it as good or bad. I don't see things as far as this new battle of the sexes that's going on. I don't see, okay, men are good, women are bad, women are good. It's not that. I don't see that. I just see that, okay, look, we both want to benefit ourselves in this situation. That's reasonable, you know? And some people are going to try to navigate that the best they can. And other people, like the MIG TAOs, are just going to say, fuck it. You know, it's not going to work. I'll go my own way. And I think that's fine. You know, I give MIG TAO the Chad Marco cosign. I'm not waving the flag, but I can't lie that even with the undeniable, inevitable bad aspects of it, you know, the idiots within these groups, the guys who are misogynistic, the guys who do hate women, right? And obviously I don't agree with that. I don't support that, but it's there, right? Despite that, the overall idea of MIG TAO, it resonates with me, and it always has, because growing up, I always wondered, why isn't not getting married a viable option? Why do I have to get married? Why do I have to get kids? Why do I have to have kids? But like, is that really what I want? And when I'm being completely honest with myself, like I said before, I never wanted to get married. I never wanted to have kids. At the most, I wanted a girlfriend just to know what that was like. I'm trying to see what that feels like. Right? And I just think that it's important for people to have options. And I think when it comes to dating and relationships, I think it's important for people to have the option to say no. That's it. Like, what's wrong with men or even women saying, you know what, I don't want to get married. I don't want to have kids. I don't want to be in a relationship. I don't want to have sex. I want to be celibate. What's wrong with that? Why are people so threatened by that? That's what I don't understand. And so, whether you agree with MIG TAO or not, my thing is just, I want people to have the freedom to live their life the way that they want to. If you want to get married and you want to date and do things traditionally, go ahead. If you want to participate in hookup culture, whatever, it's on you. But I think for guys to say, you know what, I don't want to deal with it, what's wrong with that? Right? What's wrong with just saying no and doing something else with your life? Jesus died a virgin. He won't married. It's Jesus. That's probably not a good example. That's pretty extreme. But still, I mean, dude, throughout history, you've had guys who turned their back on sex for whatever reason. You've had priests and nuns and monks and shamans and eccentrics like Tesla and whatnot. I think, what was Michelangelo another lifelong virgin? I mean, dude, it's so, you've always had men and women who turn their backs on sex and marriage. It's not something that's new, and I don't think it's a big deal. Now, certainly if everyone jumped on the wagon, it might be a little problematic as far as the continuation of our species. But look, if a couple weirdos like me want to go their own way and not get married and shit, dude, it's not a big fucking deal. It's not. You'll be okay. The only thing about it is going to be less beta males to go around. But, women are pretty creative. They'll figure out how to navigate around that, I'm sure. So that was my main topic. I hope you guys enjoyed that. My voice is really taking some damage here, man. My throat, man, I've been going in. I swear I need to slow down or something. I get too excited when I talk about this shit. But I hope you guys enjoyed that segment. And next we're going to have the thread of the day. So stay tuned. Long live MIG TAO! Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed that main topic. Next, we're going to have the thread of the day. So I scooped this one up, I think, from the poll board. And it's a thread about Delta 8, which is like this new form of marijuana that's been becoming quite popular as of late, because it's legal like CBD, but unlike CBD, people claim that it actually gets you high. And the thing is, I buy my CBD weed from the smoke shop up the street, and he tried to sell me some Delta 8, but I wasn't really, I didn't really know anything about it, so I wasn't comfortable, buying it and indulging in it. So I decided to do a bit more research and whatnot. And also, one of my loyal friends of the channel, Flim, he advised me against partaking in this new Delta 8 fad. I forgot the exact reasoning why. It was something like he was worried about the process in which they extract the chemical from the plant or something like that. Like, that's always a reasonable approach to take anyway. Whenever something new comes out, much like the it's always wise to just kind of wait and see, right? Because you don't really know the long-term effects of something, or if people might discover out of nowhere, like, oh wait, there's this side effect that we didn't know about. So I made a decision not to fuck around with the Delta 8. But when I saw that they had a thread about it on Poll, I was like, yo, this shit is really getting big. And in fact, I just went to the smoke shop today. I was smoking on some CBD right now for that slight buzz. And I noticed they got like way more Delta 8 products in there now. Like it's like they're going all in on this Delta 8 shit. So it must really get motherfuckers high. But let's just get into this thread where they're talking about Delta 8. Okay, let me just put this out. I got that nice little CBD buzz. Okay. So the thread says, red pill me on Delta 8. What exactly is it? Why are some states trying to ban it? And yes, this is political because it involves legislation. Then the guy under him says, Big Farm doesn't like competition. The guy under him says, it's weed with some chemicals. It will get you fucked up. It's legal right now, so get it while you can. So obviously this guy, he started to hear about Delta 8, trying to figure out what's going on. I didn't know that some states were trying to ban it. I would wonder why. I doubt that it's like some serious negative side effect that's been discovered. It's probably just because of, the way people describe it is, well, some people describe it. You get mixed reviews on Delta 8, but the fact is, I've seen enough people make the claim that it does in fact get you high. So I'm willing to believe that and guess like that in fact this shit gets you high. And I think that goes a long way in the world of indulging in drugs. At the end of the day, people just want to get high. I mean, that's why the whole spice thing took off. Like, even though it wasn't real marijuana, I mean, it got you high, fucked up high, but high nonetheless. But yeah, this one guy says Big Farm doesn't like competition. And I think there's always been that whole story about, marijuana being illegal because of the hemp and all the uses of hemp and how that would put it in direct competition with other corporations and whatnot. So who knows? Maybe I'll dig more into that old tale later. But yeah, let's go further into this. So they ended up talking about CBD in this thread. So this guy says, CBD is useless, but Delta 8 gets me high as fuck. And it also helps me sleep. And then this guy, he responds, he said this, any effect from CBD is really from the trace THC. I've taken heroic doses of THC remediated CBD, and it does about what aspirin does. That being said, you can buy hemp flower and make Rick Simpson oil, and it works just dandy. Ooh, I had a nose hair there. But I can definitely see why most people wouldn't like CBD because it's very weak. CBD is very weak, but that's been my preferred way of smoking lately because, truth be told, regular weed past a certain point just always got me like too antsy and sometimes paranoid and anxious for me to really do anything. What I like about CBD is that it does give me a buzz. Like, it does hit me enough to where I feel that slight alteration in my perception of reality, but it's not so strong that I lose focus. and it's not so strong that for the most part, because dude, I'm not gonna lie, there's been a couple times where CBD like put like really that shit hit a couple times, bro. But when it does, it's very short lived, but it has happened. I remember one time. I remember once I was smoking some CBD. I hit it like 3 times outside. I went back in the house and I started like cleaning up or something, right? And I was like, damn, I want to go to the store. And so I picked it up. I picked up the joint and I hit it like 3 more times. And so I leave and I start walking to the store. And I'm like halfway there and I'm like, damn, like I feel like I'm too happy. Like I'm too excited for some reason. But I was like, hey, it's probably because it's a warm, sunny day, right? But when I got behind the store, I knew I was in trouble. I was like, yo, that shit hitting, bro. I was like, that shit hitting, dog. I was like, I'm gonna go ahead in the store. I'm gonna go. It ain't that bad, but bro, I'm telling you, it's like the second I walked in the store, that's when it peaked. Like it really hit me, bro. And it was like, it was this weird feeling, bro. It was like I felt like an alien. I felt like an alien who just touched down on Earth, and I was around these weird creatures that I was disconnecting from. But at the same time, I felt connected to them because I knew we were the same and we had similar experiences. It was weird. Like I'm trying to explain it, but it was a weird feeling, bro. I felt weird as fuck in that damn Food Line grocery store. And the second I got in there, I was like, bro, I gotta get the fuck out of here. But I knew I couldn't just walk in and walk out. So that just looked too stupid. I just walked in. So I said, I gotta buy something, bro. So my ass, I go get a banana. I get one damn banana. Like I'm damn George Floyd or some shit. I go in there and buy a banana. And I swear, but that wait in that line was so long. I was sitting there just trying to hold it together because I wanted to leave that store so bad because I felt so weird. But I said, nah, I'm gonna just play it cool. And I went ahead. I bought my little banana and I walked home. By the time I got out the store, I felt a little better. But that's just one of like several times, bro, where I smoked that shit and it put me on my ass, man. But most of the time, at the most, I get like a little buzz from it. But for me, that's enough. Like even right now, I've been smoking on it while I've been doing this podcast, and I just feel like not high. I just feel like super relaxed. Like I'm just in a very like chill, like a super chill mode. And it's like I like CBD because even though it doesn't really get you high, it does help with my anxiety. Like it does make me feel more relaxed, and that's what I like about it. But really, CBD is best when you mix it with regular weed because it takes the edge off. Like so, in my experience, when you mix CBD with regular weed, it's cool because like you do get high, even though it's a weaker high. You do get like high, but it takes that anxiety edge off a bit. Like it's less high, but less anxiety as well. Like that's the perfect balance. But nowadays I've been smoking like primarily CBD. So this guy says, I took a lot of it for a month and it took me 2 months of being sober to undo the depression and old intrusive thoughts and anxiety it gave me. But my brain's isn't a stable one to begin with, so it might be different for you. Still should be legal for anyone who wants it. So here's a guy who had a seemingly bad experience with it. He said he took it for a month and it took 2 months of being sober to undo the depression and old intrusive thoughts and anxiety it gave me. Now that's scary. Now see, that's one of those things. Now he did say that his brain wasn't stable to begin with. And they always say people with mental illnesses shouldn't be partaking in psychoactive drugs to begin with, like marijuana, LSD, acid, shrooms, etc. So that might have something to do with it. But it's still like, you read stuff like this, is kind of scary because you think like Would regular weed have done this to him, or was there something unique about the Delta 8 that had these lingering negative effects on his mind? And so you gotta be very. That's why you gotta be careful with. I'm sipping some water. Hold on. That's why you gotta be careful with, just jumping on any little new drug fad or bandwagon, like lean, for example. So this guy says, yes, it does. And yes, it does get you high. I took 130 milligram and I was zonked out of my mind, tripping balls. Mentally, not visually though. I did have some mild visuals. Honestly, it wasn't very fun, to be quite honest. I was like, oh, Delta 8, just some knockoff weed. I smoked pot before. This is going to be nothing. But nope, couldn't have been more wrong. Some people claim it makes you less paranoid than regular pot, but that's not how I felt. But I could have just taken too much. I've since tried half of a 20 milligram and it was much more enjoyable. Okay, so this guy, he's basically confirming that it does get you high, and he took a 30 milligram. I'm assuming that that's an edible, right? That's a 30. It's probably like a gummy bear or something, right? Said the high was more mental than visual, not very fun. And yeah, I've heard people say that it makes you less paranoid than regular weed. And that's kind of what made it appealing to me. Again, I haven't tried it yet, but when I heard that, I was like, okay, that's cool, because that just makes it sound like my typical CBD THC combination joint, right? But this is, from what he said, it didn't give him less paranoia. But he also said he tried half of a 20 milligram and it was much, much more enjoyable. So maybe he just overdosed pretty much. Well, I don't think overdose is well, I guess overdose has a serious connotation to it. But I guess you could say he just took too much. Then this guy says, vaping would get you mildly stoned. Eating it would get you high, but beware, as there is variability between brands. I had half a 50 milligram D8 cookie the other day and I felt like I was going psychotic. Felt like a shroom trip, honestly. Half a 50 milligram D8 Delta 8 cookie. Wow. So that's 25 milligrams. That's 25 milligrams. That's kind of consistent with what the first guy said too. He took a 30 milligram and was zonked out of my mind, tripping balls. And I quote, this guy took 25 milligrams of a 50 milligram cookie and felt like he was going psychotic. The other guy, he lowered his dose to 20 milligrams and that was better. Fascinating. That's scary though. I felt like I was going psychotic. Felt like a shroom trip. I ain't never had that. I've had some bad trips on weed. Never felt like a shroom trip. Never felt like a shroom trip. I think the worst one that I had, I could not stop pacing in circles. No. It's like, okay, I smoked with my friend and he just disintegrated into the couch. But me, I couldn't sit still. I was like, I don't even know if you would call it anxiety. It was just, I could not relax. And it's like, I don't know how long I did it, but it had to be a few minutes. I would walk to the kitchen and then I walk back to the living room and then I walk back to the kitchen and I walked back to the living room and my friend was just watching me and I was like, bro, I'm tripping. And he was like, yeah, me too, but I'm trying to control it. So he was doing a better job. I was just pacing back and forth. Like, that was the worst one. Normally I can at least sit my ass down and just and tough it out. But that one, I couldn't even stop. I couldn't even relax at all. But even that, as bad as that was, that wasn't like a shroom trip. So this guy says, why is Poe so willfully ignorant? Delta 8 exists in small amounts of hemp. People are extracting and concentrating it. P.S. Don't smoke or vape it unless you know how the extraction process is performed. And so this reminds me of what Flim said, because I forgot exactly what he said, but he was warning me that he was worried about the extraction process. Not necessarily the chemical itself, but the process in which it's extracted from the plant, I believe. And here this guy is saying as well. Maybe this guy is Flim. But then somebody responds to him and says, it's all made from CBD. The extraction process is NBD since they distill it anyways. That being said, Delta 8 is a fair bit harsher on the throat, seemingly due to melting temp, which is lower than Delta 9 seemingly. Delta 10 is the opposite. Delta 10 seems to be less harsh per unit than 9. THCO is hallucinogenic and extremely potent. Oh man, this got real scientific all of a sudden, but they got a Delta 10, Delta 8. What about Delta 3? Did we just skip over Delta 3? I want some Delta 3. Damn. But yeah, Flim, that's what he warned me about. He was worried about the extraction process. And this guy says, don't smoke or vape it unless you know how the extraction process is performed. So it seems like the edible might be the way to go if you're concerned about safety. But you definitely want to make sure you watch the dosage. Maybe start with a 10 milligram and work your way around that. So this guy says, they sell this across the street and I've binged 1.5 grams of this shit a day for weeks at a time like a degenerate when I had nothing else to do. Tolerance is a bitch and builds faster with D8 than D9. Interesting. Yes, it gets you super stoned, but the hangover sucks and is worse than weed. It's fine overall, much more mellow even at higher doses, and I don't get any of the paranoia. So here's a guy who he's presenting the claim that you get the high without the paranoia, and that's what I heard from the video that I watched on YouTube. But again, you're getting different reviews here. You're getting different experiences. But it is nice to see that, you know, somebody has confirmed that at least for some individuals, it gets you high without the paranoia. Because that's really what made me not really go full stoner, right? I used to smoke much more when I was younger, but you know, that paranoia and the anxiety aspect of it always acted as a barrier for me from crossing over into full-blown stoner mode. And now I look back, I'm thankful for it because, you know, at least not in my opinion, I don't think being a stoner is necessarily cool. You know, some people make it look very cool, but I don't think that would have been a very good path for me to go down. But I did smoke quite a bit. I could never cross that threshold into becoming a full-blown stoner because the anxiety and paranoia that goes along with smoking a lot of weed at one time. So I've always been the type to smoke a little bit at a time. And I do that even with the CBD. But he also says that tolerance is a bitch and builds faster. So that's unfortunate. And he also said that the hangover sucks and it's worse than weed. And the thing is, I don't even notice like a weed hangover. That's the funny thing about that. There was a hangover for weed. The thing about smoking weed that I notice is it's kind of hard to explain. It's like you get high and, you know, sometimes it'll like put you in the couch or whatever, but I guess the way I would describe it is like it really makes your mind very excited. It gets at least me. I guess I can only describe it from my perspective, but it gets my mind very excited. being high is a very exciting period of the day, and it's weird. There's anxiety, there's excitement, there's overindulgence in food. You're watching anime, you're having fun, and then at some point you're not high anymore. But that period where you start to realize that you're coming down, so to speak, I never looked at it as being like a hangover. It's more like, at least in my experience, it's more like it's more like a feeling of like great relaxation. I don't even know if that's the best way to describe it, but I definitely wouldn't call it a hang. I don't know. I don't know why I'm sticking to this point so hard, but that's just weird. I never looked at the post high as being anything like a hangover. It just always seemed like, okay, I'm not high anymore. I'm very chill. Yeah. Like, that's really what it always seemed like to me. It was like, okay, I'm just not high anymore. You know, I'm chilling. I don't really feel like a hangover. And even the next day, the feeling is kind of like, no, you know what? Now that I think about it, I will say this. After a good high, my mind does not feel the same for like the rest of that day. The high goes down and all that goes with it, but my brain for the rest of that day still feels a little scrambled. I can't even, like, that's what I'm trying to describe. It's like it's a relaxed feeling, but my mind does still feel a bit scrambled. And it's not until I get a full night's rest and wake up the next day that I really feel completely sober again. But again, I wouldn't describe it as being like a hangover. It's like, okay, I was high, I'm not now, but my mind hasn't fully recovered yet. And this guy says, shit made me as paranoid as regular weed. I wouldn't recommend if you get paranoid on weed anyway. I've had good success with high CBD, low THC though. And see, that's been my experience. I noticed the first time I tried CBD, it was the syrup. My friend bought it, and so we took the syrup first, and then we smoked the blunt together. And I remember, because I was always the one who had issues with the paranoia and the anxiety from getting high. And when I combined the CBD syrup with the blunt, I mean, that was a fantastic high. It was like getting into the plane and lifting off with no turbulence. It was a smooth flight. I was high, but I was relaxed the whole time. I'm high and relaxed, laying on the bed. But yeah, so that's what worked for me as well, and that's what I'm gonna stick to for now. You know, the CBD THC combination, or just straight up CBD blunts for a buzz. So this guy says, every few years, some gay ass legal drug shows up, and people who want to make money off you lie and say it's safe with zero research. Depending on how old you are, you might have heard of salvia, K2, etc. Anyone who has tried them will tell you it's retarded. And see, that's what I worry about. Whenever some new drug comes out, is this going to be something that's going to lead to widespread addiction and overdoses and health issues? Or is it going to be, safe? And it's like, just throughout time and time again, it's proven that marijuana is like one of the only drugs that's even like relatively safe, to the point where it would be accepted and allowed to be legalized, right? I mean, look, marijuana has a lot of bullshit that goes along with it, right? I mean, we've been talking about the anxiety and paranoia side of things throughout this discussion, But compared to other drugs, it's that one drug that you could say is, well, at least it's not as bad as alcohol, which is legal, right? And it just seems like through the test of time, it remains that marijuana is the like regular weed is the only thing that only drug that's gonna have that distinction. But what makes this different from salvia and K2 is that Delta 8, from my understanding of it, is essentially marijuana. It's just this whole extraction thing is what makes it different. Extracting a specific chemical and remixing it. I don't know what the hell they're doing, but from what I understand, it's just it's no less marijuana than, say, CBD weed, right? So I think that's the difference here. But I'm still concerned. I still be concerned because I do believe that it kind of reminds me of cocaine, right? You remember when the time before crack, right? When it was just powder cocaine that you sniff. And I know that there were a lot of people who were addicted to cocaine. But it seems like when they converted cocaine into crack, it took it to a whole different level. Now, I don't know why that is, but the thing is, crack is cocaine. Crack is just cocaine remixed. And so they took something that was it got you high, but it also it's a fairly it can be a dangerous drug. It can be a very addictive drug. They took that and they remixed it into something even more dangerous and even more addictive. And so my concern would just be, if that could happen with cocaine, and correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't fentanyl just remixed heroin or opioid, right? It's the same shit, just remixed and made 100 times deadlier. So what happens when you take marijuana and remix it into something worse? And that's what would be my concern, is because you're starting to see all these different ways of getting high off marijuana. Of course, you have the traditional way of smoking it, and then you have bongs, you've got pipes, you've got teas, you've got edibles, and then you got dabs, all kinds of shit. And now we got the CBD and up to the Delta 8. And my concern is just what happens if they take something that's relatively harmless and remix it into something more dangerous, and that's what I'm worried about. And that's why I'm not jumping on this bandwagon just yet. So this guy says, the important thing you need to know that no one mentioned is to find a local CBD shop that is reputable, that only sells hemp products, and purchase it there. Do not purchase all the random shit at the fucking head shop the Hajibs own. It's very important to get from a trustable source. Anything could be in that shit at the head shop. They never test things for quality control at those places. I love Delta 8, and my local hemp shop has started selling hemp-derived D9, which is legal and awesome. Did he say he jibs? Is he talking about the Arabs, the Middle Eastern guys who own these shops? Because it's kind of funny because the guy who owns the smoke shop in my neighborhood, he's of Middle Eastern descent. But man, that I gotta be honest though, that store is nice. Like that I can't believe how not, like you can go in there, man. That's one of my favorite places to go. And they got not just smoke stuff, but they got shirts and trays and different kind of lighters and snacks. That's a really nice store. I give him a lot of credit for that. He made that place look really nice. It looks great. Like it looks like a good, clean place. But yeah, I think that's something that everybody got to keep in mind, like where you're getting your smoke products from. But just based on appearances, the one I go to is very nice. And then the last one, this guy says, Anyone interested in this needs to research. They keep coming out with new things. You can get Delta 10, HHC, THCO, PV, even mixtures. Look for reputable sellers. Most good places will share lab analysis on their products. 8 and 10 may be plenty for most people, and others may want 0 or P or a mixture. Lots of options. Yeah, pretty much, man. That's a good point to end on. Just do your research. And that's why you see with me, I didn't just dive into it. You know, the guy at the smoke shop, he was trying to sell me on it. And I get it. He's a salesman. That's his job. But, you know, before I do anything new, I got to do research. I got to look into it to know that it's going to be safe. And I'm not big on trying a lot of different new drugs anyway. So I'm probably not going to take it. I think, you know, I found what works for me, CBD or CBD THC combination. I don't really see a need to just start, okay, now I'm going to dab and now I'm going to do. I just don't see the need for that. But if anyone's interested, you know, it's fascinating to see, you know, where marijuana culture and science is moving along. I'm not a stoner, but, you know, I take an interest in stuff like this. So I hope you guys enjoyed that segment. And next we have the comments. So stay tuned. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. And as usual, we are going to close out with some comments. So let's get right into this shit. So Hope says on the Chiron 2 beat, banger! I wonder if you'd ever remix the Room beat. That's one of my absolute favorites. It's so eerie. That's a good idea. I might take a look back at that. I guess that wouldn't be too hard. But yeah, that's one of my favorite beats too. Yeah, thanks for that comment, Hope. So Flim says on the Zaku song, this new drill album is going to really be something. I feel the same way. In fact, I know that to be true, given the songs I've written and the beats I have at my disposal. It's definitely going to be one of my best mixtapes. And I feel like, you know, my skills as a rapper have hit a new level. I'm listening to Zaku and Power Suit, and I'm like, oh God, I'm sick now. But thanks for that comment, Flim. So Chad King says on the Zaku song, good shit, my neat bro. Can I ask what program you use to make your music? I'm not a neat, but I use FL Studio. And then Satori Blue says, I'm not him, but he uses FL Studio. He has some great live streams of how he made some songs. And then Chad King says, thanks, my dude. Yeah, I think I'm gonna start doing those FL Studio live streams again. It's just that it's so stressful sometimes because it's like you got to see me not coming up with something for like 20 minutes, and it's like, well, this is a dud. So I might just do it, but after I know I've got something and I'm just rolling with it. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely do more tutorial stuff in the future. And so William Defoe says on the OCM Botcast Life Goes On episode, I am so sorry for your loss. Losing your dog is by far one of the hardest things a man would ever go through. Be at peace, friender. I totally agree. Like when a man has a dog that he truly loves, oh man. I'm telling you, dude, man's best friend is not an exaggeration. I still think about Friender to this day, partly because I have a picture of him up in my room. But I swear, dude, I had a dream about Friender the other night. I had a dream about him. And I remember in that dream, I hugged him so tight. And I remember just thinking, didn't he die? Like, I'm in the dream. And I'm like, I'm hugging him. And I'm like, didn't he die? And I was like, I swear he died. I hope this isn't a dream. I hope that I dreamed that he died and this is reality. But the problem was when I was holding him, I smelled him and I couldn't smell him. And I know Fender's scent, he got like a nice familiar scent. And I was like, oh no, I can't smell him. This must be a dream. Then I woke up and I was like, but that's like the second time I've had oh, Fender is alive. I hope this isn't a dream, but it is dream. But yeah, man, thanks for that comment. Egg Wars Archive says on the It's Time post where I posted my new camera, he says, pick up a 24mm prime lens for it, fam. It'll be reasonable off of eBay. Picture quality will be great. Yeah, the guy who sold that to me at Traded, he said that the good thing about it is that you can switch out different lenses. And so, yeah, I'm gonna check into that. I got that written down on my desktop, 24mm prime lens. I'm gonna roll with the one I got for now, but I'm gonna definitely look into it, because I'm gonna be looking into, getting the best picture quality that I can for my budget. So thanks for that comment, Egg. So Kanker says on the Life is Neat song, this song was my anthem while I was hooked on benzos and just playing WoW. That time in rehab, I tried to end Hero, but now things are better. That's the crazy thing about this song. This song seems to have been the anthem for quite a few people, and it's like, I guess it's the duality of my music is that on one hand, you guys know, look, I've been through some shit. I've been in the mental hospital for a little while. That was years ago, but in depression and suicidal thoughts. But now I couldn't be further removed from that time in my life and that mind state that I was in during that time. I feel like such a different person from then, from then to now. And I see people, because even when I made this song, I was actually in a pretty good headspace, actually. But then I see people who, when they discovered the song, they were still going through it. They were still going through some shit in their life. And so this song was kind of, they were on the same wavelength as the vibe of the song because of the negative state that they were in. And I guess it's all just to say that it's kind of a bittersweet song when I think back to it, because it's definitely one of my most popular songs. But it does have it has a strange combination of light and dark frequencies where, you're talking about what's enjoyable about the neat life as far as the cheap, easily obtainable vices like pornography and junk food and all the sleep and in the world that you need and the overindulgence media. But alongside all that is the isolation and the depression and the self-esteem issues and the different traumas you've experienced throughout your life. So it's a very bittersweet song, man, but definitely a Chad Marco classic. I appreciate that concept comment, Kanker. So Chad Sammy says on the Power Suit song, I haven't smiled all day, but it's finally got me. Thank you, Chad. See, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. I bet he smiled when I said, calling me Keelik, I stay with the pole. That don't make anybody smile. Oh man, but that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about for me. These like I don't care about the girls that I don't have, the money that I don't have. I do care about the money, but the best thing is, creating something that people can truly enjoy for years to come, and something that can put a smile on someone's face or get them in an upbeat mood or whatever. Like, that's what it's all about. Like, these are my favorite comments. So Black Star ENT says, my power suit is the Guyver unit. Dope track, bro. Yeah, I know, because, Black Star, I might have said this like 5 times before, but I know him in real life. I just went to his house like a few days ago, actually. We kicked it over there for a couple hours. But I know he's a big fan of the anime called, what is it? Guyver Power Suit? I call it Power Suit. What is that shit called? It's something Guyver. But look, just type in Guyver anime, right? But that's definitely one of his favorite Power Suit anime. But I'm trying to think, like, what? I know one that I like is, and maybe would it be considered Power Suit? Because I think, I don't know if the suit had any real powers. It's been a while since I watched it, but Samurai Flamenco, that's one that I liked right there. It's very weird. It's very weird anime, but it is kind of a Power Suit anime because he had like a Power Rangers outfit or some shit like that. But that's one that I like personally, as silly as it was. But thanks for that comment. So then this is just a string of comments on the Power Suit video. Nikon 4 said, "Return of the King." And Kim Osabi said, "Another banger, Mr. Marco." Amaya said, "Really good, just like always, Marco." And yeah, I enjoyed that. Just a string of positive feedback from my fans, and just feeling good that I was able to provide another banger for the people. And so on the Nightwalk blog, coping with having a small penis, BWC says, "The BBC myth simply isn't true." And then Oshiri222 says, "Race is not indicative of penis size. Penis size in itself is a degenerate Coomer thing that wasn't relevant until the destruction of monarchy, and caring about penis size is something gynocentric in itself." Yeah, and I actually kind of agree with that last statement, because if you think about it, outside of what women care about, penis, like the whole concern over penis size all goes back to women. Because if it wasn't for the fact that most women had a preference for bigger size penises, we wouldn't care. It wouldn't matter. The size of your penis would be as irrelevant as the size of your fucking eyelashes or something. It would just be something to fuck and piss with, right? But because women have this attraction and preference for bigger penises, yeah, it is kind of a gynocentric issue. I mean, I guess you could consider gays too, because popular opinion is that gays are even bigger size queens than girls. But again, it all goes back to sex, and that's why I don't really care about having a small dick, because I think to care about having a small dick, you have to be very concerned with being good at sex, which isn't a concern of mine. Look, if I can't be good at sex because I got a small dick, so be it. Not a big deal. That's why I don't care. But yeah, I think it all goes back to caring about what women like. Which isn't necessarily wrong, but it can be problematic if you don't have the genetics if you don't have the genetic traits that are going to make you more attractive to women. And so Vaz Montenegro says, "That feel with no friend, let alone girlfriend." And I can't lie, I've been feeling the effect of that more lately. I still enjoy my solitude as much as I ever have. But, I'm starting to realize that as far as my music is concerned, not having a big network not even a big network, but a bigger network of friends and fellow artists to work with is going to hinder my progress. And so I've been thinking, like, man, I have to really branch out and start networking more. Because, like, just for example, I get this nice camera, but I'm like, wait, who's gonna hold the camera? Right? Shit like that. And it's like, I got a few options, right? But no one that's as dedicated to music and content creation as I am. That's the issue. I definitely got, 2 or 3 people I could call up to hold a camera for me or do something for me like that. But as far as like a dedicated cameraman or someone that's going to be on the same wavelength as me as far as like the process of making the video outside of just standing around, yeah, I don't really have that. And that's what I've been feeling recently, you know. It's not a problem as far as my enjoyment of my life, because like I said, I enjoy solitude, period. But from the perspective of an artist, as far as my art, as far as content creation is concerned, I'm worried that my lack of networking is going to get in the way of me making some major plays that need to be made to expand my influence and, you know, get a bigger fan base and get my music out to more people. But as with most issues, you just got to put your mind to it. So that's definitely one thing that I'm working on in the near future, is just, you know, starting to really reach out more in real life and online to get connected to people who are taking music and content creation just as seriously as I am. But thanks for that comment, Vras Montenegro. So 360 No Scope Johnson says, on the manipulated man part 2, Marco, my man, you're downplaying Chris Chan, he's mentioning. There is no mentally ill man in the world even remotely comparable to Chris. The stories and actions this man has taken have been unbelievably interesting and hilarious. You just need to dive deeper into the Chris Chan lore. So if you guys don't know, I'm not a fan of Chris Chan. Not because he's the crazy slow man guy, child, Sonic Chew, but to me, it's just not amazing to have a slow nigga do slow nigga shit. Right? But this guy, from what he says, I'm downplaying Chris. I'm not giving him the credit that his slow ass deserves. So I'll take his word for that. You know, and I might have said this before, but yeah, I would definitely do an episode on Chris Chan. And with your cosign on his lore, I'm definitely, that's definitely going to be on the podcast eventually. Not soon, but I wouldn't mind diving deeper into the Chris Chan world, because truth be told, I just have like a surface understanding of him and his antics. But again, just to me, I just see a slow nigga doing slow shit. Oh, man. So here's the last one. Agent 245 says on the Half Monk beat, no more cope, give up on hope. Then JW00 says, giving up on hope is itself a cope. Agent 245 responds, stop coping. JW responds, stop coping, you are free. You are what you make yourself. Agent says, blue pulled logic. JW says, stop coping, you are free. Oh, wait. No, I repeated one. Then JW says, denying your own freedom is nothing more than a coping mechanism you have crafted subconsciously to excuse your mediocrity. Strive. Oh, damn. That was a mouthful. But yeah, I agree, man. I don't want to undermine someone else's perspective or maybe whatever mental trauma they might be going through, or, you know, mental unbalance, mental health issues and whatnot. I don't want to undermine that. But an important part of me growing into a better man was holding myself accountable for the things that were going on in my life. You know, identifying the difference between the things that were done to me that I didn't have control over and the things that I did to myself that I did have control over, and focusing on the things and the areas where I did have control, and as he said, striving to make the most and the best of those particular areas. You know, like, yeah, life isn't perfect. you got this issue or that. But all right, so I can control what I eat. I can't control what I read, how much I read. I can't control how much I work out. I can't control what things I focus on in terms of like the content I consume, the media I consume. You know, I can watch a bunch of garbage, or I can look up some self-help stuff or something that's motivational. But, you know, the point is, I think that you don't want to give up on yourself too early without at least doing a proper assessment of your life. And I mean, you gotta clean out every closet, go under the bed, under the mattress, you know, wipe the walls. I mean, really do a thorough assessment of your life and try to figure out, you know, what am I doing wrong? What could I do better to make my life more enjoyable? Because that's what I did. And so, yeah, I think, you know, don't try to get into the mindset of thinking that you don't have some degree of power in this situation. You know, don't start thinking that, you know, that you're powerless to make significant changes to elevate yourself to a better position. You know, because just like you said, sometimes that's just a coping mechanism to prevent you from having to do the work, right? Because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of struggle. It's very hard. I mean, goddamn, man. when I think back to just the hours and hours I poured into self-improvement and reading and working out and making music and just reflecting and making adjustments here and there, and I still got a long way to go. The journey is really just beginning for me, and but it's worth it. You know, that's the thing. And look, maybe you are fucked. I don't know. I'm just saying, don't give up too early. Like, come on, most of us are my fans are anywhere from like what, 16 to 30, 35, something like that. No, we're too young to be giving up on ourselves. Like, at least wait till you're 40, 50. Right? Like, strive until you at least like 40, 50. And if it ain't worked by then, I don't know, man. Damn. But yeah, I appreciate those comments, guys. And with that, that's the end of the Botcast. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode, and I will return later with more music, more beats, more anime reviews, more Nightwalk vlogging, more game streams, more playthroughs, everything that you know Chad Marco to do. And I'm going to sprinkle in some music videos very soon, so stay tuned. And is it John now? Johnny! I better do it enthusiastically every time or I'll forget. Johnny!